Happy Sunday, America. I'm Vanessa Broussard with Right Side Broadcasting Network. The road to 2024 is traveling through Michigan today. It's an exciting time here at the 2023 Lincoln Day Dinner. That's the Lincoln Day Dinner here in Novi, Michigan. That's a suburb of Detroit, so we're right outside the city of Detroit in Oakland County. The Oakland County GOP is putting on this event. They have done so for years, and we're really excited about this year's event because, again, we are on the road to a very important election day next year, and of course, President Trump will be speaking tonight. He is the keynote speaker, and he'll also be receiving an award that I believe is well deserved for President Trump, Man of the Decade. Oakland County GOP is awarding him that tonight during his speech, so we can't wait to see that and also hear from the president. If you watched RSBN over the weekend, he was on fire at the Faith and Freedom Conference in Washington, D.C. Huge crowd there to see him this weekend, and of course another huge crowd to see him here in Michigan tonight. I'm told by organizers that he was here about 10 years ago. This was before he was even on the radar to be president, a candidate. He was just Donald Trump, a New York citizen who was a real estate mogul, businessman. No idea that he would ever announce his candidacy for president. And when he came about 10 years ago, it was a sold-out crowd, and he was awarded Man of the Year. Here we are 10 years later, and he is going to be speaking again tonight at the same event, but this time receiving a much higher honor, and that is Man of the Decade. So be sure that you stick around for that. You know what, it's so important to me when I hear that President Trump is receiving this award. One, that it's well deserved. What other man can you think of to receive Man of the Decade, right? President Donald J. Trump. But I also want to give kudos to the Oakland County GOP for awarding President Trump this honor, because he has been nominated for certain awards, he's been passed up for certain awards, but he's never really been given an award that he deserves. I could list several that he's been passed up on for people who I believe aren't so well deserving. And so he is definitely well deserving of this award, and I know he's going to be pleased and honored to receive it. So stick around because it's not often that we see people who actually give kudos to the president for all the work that he's done, because they're Muppets on a string, and they're being pulled on from other sources and always go another route, it seems, and pass President Trump up. And so this time tonight, that's not happening. He is receiving a well-deserved award. I want you to take a look behind me to see how the stage is set for tonight. It's beautiful here in Michigan. Look at the patriotic stage. It is gorgeous. People are starting to take their seats. Security is tight here. They're having to go through Secret Service clearance to come inside. It is a cocktail dinner. Again, a sold-out crowd. Organizers told me that when Trump was here a decade ago, it was a sold-out crowd of about 2,100 people, and that was the last time that it was sold out. Sold out again this year. They actually had to add more room to add more seats because the demand for tickets was so high. Now they sold 2,500 tickets, seats, another sellout. So who can do it? President Trump. He's a very loved man. And I'll tell you, this is the first time I've been to Michigan, and I took a flight straight to my hotel and straight here today. It's been a long day already for me traveling. And the people that I've talked to asking if I've ever been to Detroit, if I've ever been to Michigan, I told them I was here for work. And then once we started talking, and then I would be honest with them and tell them that President Trump was going to be here tonight, they were all excited. Every one of them said, "Oh, I love Trump. I love President Trump. He's going to be here tonight. How can I get in? Can you help me get in?" So I love traveling the country and seeing the hype behind President Trump, because you never know when you go into cities like Detroit. Do you have to stay quiet because it's a Democrat-run city? Do you have to stay quiet? Do you have to stay mum? But when you talk to the actual people who live there, hey, they're Trump fans. So keep that in mind as we're heading into 2024, that no matter what you see on the mainstream media, people are telling a different story out on the streets when we're traveling. We want to thank a lot of our sponsors for being here today. We'll start with My Patriot Supply. Look, if you think you won't need emergency food, think again. The world continues to get more and more dangerous every day. All around you, things seem to be fraying and getting worse. You simply can't put your faith in the institutions we used to trust, so you need to rely on yourself. Unfortunately, that's the case these days. Just like you need a fire extinguisher, you need to have emergency food on hand at all times. And the best company to get it from is My Patriot Supply, the nation's largest preparedness company with millions of happy customers. Go to our special website, prep2023.com. That's prep2023.com, and get their top-selling 4-week emergency food kit. Enjoy tasty breakfasts, lunches, dinners, averaging over 2,000 calories per day. With our Rally broadcast special, you can save $80 on each 4-week food kit you purchase from My Patriot Supply. Be sure to get enough for each member of your family. The food is delicious. It ships for free right to your doorstep in discreet boxes. So that's cool too. So go to prep2023.com while it's on your mind. You'll regret it later if you pass on these savings. Again, that's prep2023.com. We just got a notification that people need to start taking their seats because the program will be starting around 5 o'clock Eastern. However, like we said, there are a lot of people trying to get in, and they're going through strict security to get in, so it may be a little later than what we've expected. I'm standing here now with Terry Nalamathu. She is with the Oakland County Republican Party. Terry, thank you so much for being here. What an amazing night.
Yes, it is. We're so excited. We've been planning this for months. We are very honored that President Trump accepted our invitation to do our event tonight. We're packing the room with probably over 3,000 people if you count the staff, the press, and everybody else that had to help. I want to thank our volunteers. This needed a big crew to be done. We have some great people on our team, and if you've never been to an event in Oakland County, we like to do things big.
Yes, I can see that. When I walked in, I was wowed by the backdrop and just the layout of this room. It's beautiful. It's welcoming. Everyone's going to have a great time. You said it took months of planning, and you were excited to know that President Trump accepted your invitation to come. Talk about that. When you heard he says, yes, I'm coming, everyone, after working hard for months, had to celebrate that he's going to be here.
We did, and at first, either way, we were doing a Lincoln Day dinner. We weren't sure who it was going to be. That was our hope. So I would get the phone calls, and they're like, guess what? You better be sitting. And I'm like, okay. And it was something, but not the answer I was looking for. So when it was finally President Trump, ecstatic. And I said, it's go time, and we got to, put the pedal to the metal, get the great volunteers, get our sponsors, and just do the work.
And let's talk about the award he's receiving tonight. Who is behind deciding on who gets this award?
It was a committee, a lot of people on our, executive committee, our chairman, vice chairman. We had some other people that were just precinct delegates in the area, and that's who they wanted to support. And we thought, what a great way, if you would accept our invitation to come, to realize that it was 10 years ago that he got that Man of the Year award. So we said, we're going to do it bigger and better, and hopefully he'll come back for the Man of the Decade. I think as far as the county and the state go here in Michigan, we really miss when the state was red, when our county was red, and we really need to turn this county and state around and get back to that.
It's a battleground state. I was looking at the numbers just this week, and it's been close the last 2 elections. What is Oakland County doing specifically to get more people involved?
I think just reaching out to grassroots and getting a lot more precinct delegates, reaching out to the community. We have totally revived our youth. We have a great youth chair and vice chair just for the county, and a great new one elected to the state GOP. We realize that it starts with a lot of these kids before they get indoctrinated in college. So we're reaching out to high schools. We're hosting a lot of youth events. We have a lot of youth that are here today. We have sponsored table for students just to get them involved and actually listen to these speeches to realize what is going to affect them later in life. Until you're paying your taxes, buying a home, paying the price for gas, you really don't realize who you vote for makes such a difference.
Absolutely, and I'm glad you mentioned the youth because we're really big on that. We talk about it all the time here on RSBN that we have to start with the younger generation because we're not going to be here forever, and so that younger generation, they don't need to be brainwashed at school. We need to get to them before they are. So I think this is great to hear that coming from you, that it's going so well because other organizations and other parts of the country can jump on board and say, hey, we can do that with our organization in our county.
Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people out there want to help, and they just need to be asked or given a direction on how they can help. I think people are ecstatic if you give them specifics. If you're just like, sign up to volunteer, and you really are like, well, we'll let you know when something happens. But if you're like, hey, we need someone that can help us lay out this program for this event, I've got that. That's my talent. People love to use their talents, and when you ask them, everyone is happy to help.
They really are. And so let's talk about Michigan. What are you hearing, not just in Oakland County, but across the state? Is there a different vibe this go around? Are people more eager for this election because of the current administration?
I think a lot of people are nervous. A lot of people are scared that it's going to be stolen again or have that fear. We really need to get people out to vote. If you want to be involved, sign up to be an election inspector. Sign up to work those elections. And I try and tell people, like, we're focusing on our county like a little island because local politics affects your daily life more than the actual federal government. So we're trying to, keep our county going strong. We're trying to change our schools, going back to conservative values in our schools, celebrating families, celebrating God back in the homes, things like that. So thank you for being here. We're very excited that you're taking time to cover this event.
Yes, well, we are excited to be here, and again, first time in Michigan. It's been more than welcoming, and happy to meet all the different people. People are still coming in. Security, like I mentioned earlier, is tight. Other than President Trump, what is it about this dinner that makes it so special every year?
It is our biggest fundraiser of the year, so this is where we raise the most money to help our local candidates, from school board to our state reps to county, city, township officials. We need to back our candidates when the time comes, and things like this, it's social for the people. They don't realize they are helping with their funds at the same time, but we have a great silent auction going today with a lot of donated items, so we're hoping we make some money off of that and just getting people in the door. We try and make it affordable for everybody. This is a bigger venue, and when you host a former president of the United States, costs go up. So it was a little more than we like to usually charge, but there was a lot of costs involved. We hope people realize that, and I don't think we're trying to, rip them off. But we packed the room. We sold out. We had to shut down our ticket sales Tuesday.
I saw that online, and great job, because even though the prices went up, that's what people love, President Trump, and they want to support him and then support the cause, the grassroots effort, the conservative values. And I think that, if it means not going out to eat a couple times this week and instead coming here and supporting the cause, then that's what people are going to do. For people to follow Oakland County GOP, how can they do so online?
Our website is www.oaklandgop.org. Oakland is our county, GOP is our party, and we are an organization.
Terry, thank you so much for everything you've done and for being here and for allowing RSBN to be here as well. We'll see you later tonight. Yes. Okay, thank you. We love you too. Thank you. Thank you. All right, well, you heard it from Terry. It takes a lot to put these. You're welcome. It takes a lot to put these organizations on. She said there's been months of planning going on behind the scenes, and they just happened to reach out to President Trump 10 years later after his first appearance 1 decade ago to see if he may be willing to come back. He said absolutely he would, and as you heard from her, she got really excited when she got the phone call that President Trump accepted their invitation. Sold out crowd here tonight. People are eager to see the president, what he has to say. This comes on the heels of his arraignment last week in Miami. If you've been following the news, there's new pushes in Congress to get his indictments expunged. And so we're really depending on Congress to go through with that. So do your jobs. All the Republicans in Congress, McCarthy, make sure that we get those indictments expunged. And also there's another push for President Biden to be indicted. So we have this Republican-controlled House, and so I think that when you have these initiatives and you have these efforts going forward to try to, you know what, you're attacking our president, but yet the current president is getting away with so much worse, you are in control of the House. So it is our turn to make sure that these efforts are passed and that Republicans do what they're supposed to do to hold those accountable. In office. The Biden family, the regime, it needs to come to an end, and we need to make sure President Trump is cleared of what he's been accused of. And we all know that he's innocent, and everything that they've tried to accuse him of, they have not had any evidence. And so now what's going on, as you know, I don't have to tell you sitting at home if you're watching us, you all know it's baloney is like what we like to call it in Texas. So, yes, we call on Congress to make sure if you are not backing this recent push to have President Trump's indictments expunged, you need to get on board, and then also get on board with the call to impeach President Biden. You know, it's been a long day for me. I left my house at 3 a.m. Central to make it here tonight to see all these wonderful people in Michigan. So I need some coffee, and the perfect brand for me, Blackout. If you're tired of the same old liberal flavored coffee brands, stop giving your money to woke companies that don't care about you. Go with a coffee option that aligns with your conservative values. And my friends, again, that's Blackout Coffee. It's not enough to simply taste great. You want to be proud to support the company knowing they align with your conservative values. And that's why I'm telling you to give them a try. I'm proud to personally recommend Blackout Coffee. This is a coffee company that is 100% committed to conservative values, from sourcing the beans to the roasting process, customer support, or shipping. They've got an incredible work ethic and are dedicated to promoting conservative principles and accept no compromise on taste or quality. So do me a favor right now, check out blackoutcoffee.com/RSBN. And you can use the coupon code RSBN for 20% off your first order. So ditch those other guys. Blackout Coffee remains true to our values. That's blackoutcoffee.com/RSBN, or you can use coupon code RSBN for 20% off your first order. Coffee sounds good right about now, but people are starting to come in, take their seats. Slowly but surely, as we've been mentioning, we may be running a few minutes behind because security is tight. We haven't mentioned it yet, but Ted Nugent will be playing the national anthem, the legendary guitarist. He's always a pleasure to watch and listen to. Ted Nugent will be playing the guitar for our national anthem. That should be coming up any moment now. We also have different congressmen and women from around the state who will be in attendance this evening. All will be speaking before President Trump takes the stage. So Ted Nugent will start things off after the invocation from several people from around the area here in Oakland County. They will say grace, say prayer, and then Ted Nugent will play the Pledge of Allegiance. We have several people who will speak tonight from Oakland County. Also, I'm just getting word Rudy Giuliani will be here. He's set to take the stage shortly before President Trump. President Trump is expected to speak at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. Rudy Giuliani will be about 15 minutes before that. Can't wait to hear from him. We have Vance Patrick, who is the chairman. He'll be speaking after Rudy Giuliani. Then we also have Congresswoman Lisa McClain, who will be speaking. this evening. So we have a nice lineup of speakers. Again, Rudy Giuliani, Vance Patrick, Congresswoman Lisa McClain, and then, of course, who we're all waiting for and here to see, President Donald J. Trump. I want to talk to you a little bit about the border crisis and what's going on in places like Texas and Arizona. This week, the Census Bureau put out new numbers for the state of Texas, and for the first time in a very, very long time, decades, Latinos are now in the majority in Texas, making up about 40% of the population. So Latinos have surpassed the white population and non-white population to make up the majority of Texas. Well, on the plane ride over here, I was looking at different websites and mainstream news articles to see what the reasoning behind that was, and it was kind of interesting to me to read on these mainstream outlets that it's because they are just reproducing faster. Well, I did finally, after I went to maybe 8-9 websites, finally see an article that said because of our border, they're migrating over here. And that's what I also believe as well, is that they're migrating over here. And that's okay if they're migrating the legal way. We accept all legal immigrants to come to the United States. It's the illegal immigrants who we are clearly having a problem with at the border. The border is wide open. President Biden refuses to close our border. He refuses to finish the border wall, and so these migrants are coming over, not just from Mexico, from all over, from places we don't even know where they're coming from. We don't know who they are. Venezuela, you name it, they're coming. And so they're just coming at this rapid pace to where the states are doing what they can to send their National Guard there, their police officers there, to kind of come up with new tactics to get these people from crossing the border, but our federal government is lacking. So they're not getting the help from our federal government. That's the Biden administration. The states are doing what they can, including in Texas. I read almost weekly new initiatives that they're taking to try to combat the population of these migrants coming over, tens of thousands a day, into our communities, into our school systems, into our neighborhoods. So parents in Texas are worried. Homeowners in Texas are worried. We hear from landowners all the time along the border, the Rio Grande, who say, they have to call the cops all the time because there's just people walking across and hanging out and trying to make a makeshift home on their property. And so these illegal immigrants are coming over at a rapid pace, and I don't want the mainstream media, I don't want you to get so focused on the mainstream media and what they may covering to ignore. They're covering up what our real problems are, and that's one of the real problems. That should be covered every single day, and it's not. And so, again, I think that the Republicans need to push better on the fact that we support immigration legally. It's the illegal immigration, and we just need to really get the federal government behind closing our border, because what's a country without a border? And so, if states are changing in their demographics, that's wonderful, as long as it's the legal way. So that's one of the new news items and headlines that I read up on this week. Also, another thing is the 1-year anniversary of Roe v. Wade. So that was overturned about a year ago this week and sent to the states. And, I'll have to tell you that I smile when I see news articles flash across my phone and alerts come across my phone that say that abortion rates are almost to 0% in a lot of states now. Because what does that mean? That means that babies are living, and that makes me happy. They are not murdering these innocent babies, and lives are being saved. So Roe v. Wade overturned a year ago this week and sent it to the states, and so many states are seeing a huge decrease in abortions, and so therefore lives are being saved. God bless the babies. We're pro-life, and we're excited to see that when we see those news flashes come across our screen. I want to let you know I am on Truth Social at Vanessa Broussard. If you have any questions for me, join the conversation. I would love to talk to you, love to answer any questions you may have. Go to Vanessa Broussard on Truth Social, and we will have a conversation here throughout our broadcast. You're looking again at the room. I kind of want to move over here and there so you can see what I'm seeing. Feel the energy in the room. Everyone looks lovely tonight. Cocktail attire for this evening. And of course, we want to thank our sponsors for allowing us to be here. Let's talk about Birch Gold. Do you trust our government with your financial future? Does the thought of losing your hard-earned retirement money to DC's reckless and politically motivated policies scare you? Well, you're not alone. Smart Americans are taking action while they still can. They're doing so by protecting their retirement savings with gold with Birch Gold Group. When things are a mess, like they are right now, precious metals can be the difference maker for your savings. Birch Gold makes it easy to convert an IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered account in precious metals. So here's all you need to do. Text Trump to 989898 to get a free information kit on gold. Best of all, there are no taxes or penalties to make this move. Text Trump to 989898 to claim your free info kit on gold today. With an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, thousands of happy customers, and countless 5-star reviews, Birch Gold is who you can trust to protect your future. Again, text Trump to 989898 today. And also, when you contact Birch Gold right now, you'll be eligible for up to $10,000 in free precious metals on qualified purchases. One more time, text Trump to the number 989898 right now. Birch Gold, thank you so much for being a sponsor. Again, we were supposed to kick off about 15 minutes ago, but people are held up in a security sweep and slowly making their way in. Sorry, we have viewers talking to us right now. We're live on air. Hi. RSBN. Yes, you're welcome. That's right. She says this is where all the happening women are, not the purple hair wackadoodles. Those were her exact words. So as you can see, people are eager. They're happy to be here. They're excited. As Terry just mentioned earlier, if you were watching when we talked to one of the organizers of this event, she says people are excited for next year's election, but they're also very nervous. We cannot take another 4 years of the Biden administration. Look what has happened in the time he's been in control now. Can you imagine another 4 more years? So what can you do? First of all, we pray, and we pray. And we pray with our families, and we pray with our kids, and we pray with our friends, and we pray with our neighbors. We go to church and pray. We pray at home. We pray at school. We pray. That's first and foremost. Then what do? You contact a local organization in your community and say, I want to get involved. I've had enough of just sitting at home and not being able to afford my groceries, not being able to afford my gas, not being able to afford my rent or my mortgage. My 401k is crashing. Open borders, like we just mentioned, on the brink of another world war. I cannot take this anymore. So I want to get involved. So that's what you do. And if you don't have an organization in your community, if you come from a smaller community, that's okay. You can start one. Grab a couple of friends. Go have coffee together. Blackout Coffee. Go have coffee together and talk about what you can do, and then start getting your community involved. As Terry just mentioned earlier, too, we're seeing a big push across the country, which is great to see, of people really reaching out to our youth. Our youth is getting involved, and that is wonderful. We are getting to them before the schools get to them, before the universities get to them. So, have that conversation with your child. Let them know what's right from wrong. Teach them the Constitution. Teach them, our rights and what our founding fathers wanted for our country. Teach them right from wrong. And I talked about this last week in Miami, and it's a really sad day in America whenever wrong turns into right and right turns into wrong. The Biden family is wrong. And what is happening? Nothing. They're getting away with everything. They're making it seem like it's A-okay. They're right. Then you have President Trump, who's been right about everything so far, but the left is attacking him. Our government is attacking him, putting him in the wrong. So we need to flip that, America. Congress, if you're watching right now, our GOP House members, get on board. That's what you were voted in for. You were voted in for the people, by the people, to get to work, to protect this country and protect our president and quit playing politics and make sure that we get back on the right track. Slap the hands of those who are doing wrong and praise the ones who are doing good. And that's what we have to do, is make sure that we get back on track. See a lot of people starting to get to their seats as we start to get busy here. It's getting a little crowded here. Sold out crowd at the 2023 Lincoln Day Dinner in Novi, Michigan. It's a smaller town, the suburbs of Detroit and Oakland County. This is an Oakland County Republican Party event. They have it every year. President Trump spoke here a decade ago. He was honored with the award of Man of the Year, and this year he is being presented with Man of the Decade. Can you think of anyone else more deserving than President Trump for this award? Absolutely not. This is the man that deserves it, and I hope more counties and states and organizations get involved with awarding him. That's kind of what he needs right now. He needs to know we're there for him. He needs to know we love him. He needs to know America's behind him and is supporting him. So when we can award him for his accomplishments, then that's what we need to do. 5:18 here in Michigan as we await the start of the Lincoln Day Dinner. Ted Nugent will be playing the national anthem here in a bit. We will start with prayer, followed by the national anthem. Legendary guitarist. He's a fan favorite. People love listening to Ted Nugent, an American First musician. And then we have Rudy Giuliani, who will be speaking here in a bit, followed by some organizers of the event, a local congresswoman, and then ending the night with President Donald J. Trump. Heading on over to Truth Social now. If you're there, follow me, Vanessa Broussard. Join the conversation. Would love to chat with you. Looking at Truth Social right now at some of your comments. Looking at some of your comments, a lot of you just saying thank you for being here, RSBN for being here. Of course, we're going to be here with you all of this campaign trail. We're not going anywhere. We're happy to be here. It's important for us to be here to get the word out, to get the right words out, to get the truth out. And so that's what we're going to do. And we may lose sleep and we may get tired and we may feel like we've been on a plane 6 out of 7 days out of the week, but that's okay. That's what we're here to do, and that's what we're going to keep on doing, and we are not stopping. So stick with RSBN throughout the entire campaign as we track Trump the president and all of the other candidates as they vie. You know, looking at the poll numbers, every time poll numbers come out, I'm just like, wow, they get better and better for President Trump. You know, just when I think, wow, 40 percentage point lead or 40-point lead is now up to 41, now up to 42. So it's just getting better and better for him. So keep those numbers out. Listening to the speaker just now, he said, ladies and gentlemen, the president will be here soon. The crowd erupted in cheers. And then they're also making a mention to go purchase the president's book, which is out and available. That's for sale here. It was neat to walk through the halls before you come into the event center to see all of the booths set up, tables set up with America First merchandise, flags, shirts, hats, President Trump's book, just a lot of great patriotism walking down the hall before you enter the doors. So people are out shopping right now. Hello, Callum 4016. Thanks for watching RSBN. If you have anything you want to talk about, let me know. We'll join the conversation together. Someone's asking what time will the coverage begin for Trump. He is expected to speak at 6:30 Eastern. And we are running a little bit behind, so that time may vary a little bit. Hey, have you heard about Trump trading cards? I think this is so cool. The official Trump NFTs sold out within 24 hours, but many people wanted a physical version, not just a digital image. So if you are one of the many people that hope to have a physical version, well, you are going to love these physical Trump trading cards. Think of these like baseball cards, but of President Trump. Each of them are tightly sealed and preserved in a case and include a certificate of authenticity. Only 2,500 will ever be made. That's it. Just 2,500 of these will ever be made. And if you act now, you can claim all 6 of these unique pieces of art before they sell out. Text the keyword cards to 70301 to claim yours now. Again, text the keyword cards to 70301 to claim your Trump trading cards now. I think this is an early Christmas present for the Trump lover in your family. What a great gift, right? So go ahead and order those now. They're asking people again to take their seats as the program starts to begin. Stick around for Ted Nugent. Excited to hear him. All right, so if you are just tuning in, we are at the 2023 Lincoln Day Dinner in Novi, Michigan. That's in Oakland County, a suburb of Detroit. On the ground here in Detroit, I haven't been here long, but I have met some Trump fans. They were excited to know that President Trump would be in town today. And I'll be honest with you, I was surprised to hear that here in Detroit. I didn't know what I was walking into, but when I said where I was coming after some conversations with people, you know, you have to kind of feel people out. You can't really talk politics to just anybody, or especially strangers in a Democrat-run city, so you have to be very careful. But once you start filling people out and seeing where they stand and start talking to them, and then I told them where I was coming and who I was coming here to see, they get excited. People love Trump, so don't let the mainstream media fool you. Don't let them fool you, because they're going to tell you what you want to. They're going to tell you what they want you to hear, but it's not necessarily the truth. The people on the ground tell the truth. And from what I hear from big cities all across the country, hey, they love Trump too. So it's not just the suburbs. It's not just the country towns, the small small communities. It's the big cities too. We just don't see that on the news. But you'll get it right here on RSBN. We'll tell you the truth, and that's what people are saying. They love Trump. All right, it is a cocktail attire here tonight in Novi, Michigan. We talked to one of the organizers, Terry, earlier. It's been months of planning. President Trump, he accepted the invitation to come here. She said Michigan has a lot of work to do. They've come a long way, but this is a battleground toss-up state. It could go either way. It has in the past. In 2016, it went to Trump over Hillary Clinton. In 2020, it went to Biden, so they say. Depends on who you ask. Which votes were counted? Was the election stolen? But they say it went to Biden in 2020, but 2024, we got to get it right back on track, and Michigan's got to side with Trump this go-around. 16 electoral votes are up for grabs when it comes to Michigan. So Michigan offering 16, that's a big number. So it's a very important state to claim in the presidential election. We're going to be talking to more people, more organizers throughout the evening. We have several people coming here in a little bit after Ted Nugent plays. The importance of Michigan getting out to vote, as I just talked about. 16 electoral votes are up for grabs in 2024. The importance of Michigan going back with Trump this go-around. Again, he won Michigan in 2016, missed it in 2020. Well, we believe he'll get it again in 2024. Then Ryan Berman, who's the chair of the Lincoln Day Dinner, he's going to talk to us more in depth about why Donald J. Trump was chosen to receive the Man of the Decade award tonight. He's going to give us some background on his 2013 visit, talk about this sold-out event, talk about where our country's headed. So that's coming up momentarily as well. We do want to take a moment to remember the lives of those who were lost on the Titan submersible last week. I know all eyes were on that news story. It's a very sad situation. You just had some explorers who wanted to see a piece of history, and some people are more daring than others, and regardless, 5 lives were lost, and we want to remember those 5 lives this evening. But at the same time, we can't forget about what's going on in our country as well. So while the media was really wanting you to focus on the submersible that was going down to the Titanic and these missing passengers and the missing crew member, yes, that's sad, and yes, it's just very tragic, and the families who are having to deal with this. But what's really sad and tragic as well is what Hunter Biden is getting away with. You know, all this news comes out and is really hitting home and in your homes, while the Bidens are over here scheming and getting away with stuff. And I think the media just wants you to focus on one thing, while something more, I don't want to say more important, because, you know, lives are being lost, but something that affects Americans is going on. They don't want you to see that. So be careful when you're watching the news and you're watching social media, even people who have podcasts and internet shows. Be careful, because they want you to focus on one thing, but always remember there might be something else going on. But really be
Welcome to the 131st Oakland County Republican Party Lincoln Day Dinner. I'm proud to be a part of this record-setting and historic evening. It's amazing to see all the work that we've put in over the last few weeks culminate in this great event. I wish I could take all the credit. However, it was because of the tireless efforts of our leadership team and many, many volunteers that this room went from being empty just a day ago to looking this good and professional. Yeah. I would like to especially thank our OCRP Chair, Vance Patrick, Vice Chair, Terry Nalamathu, Political Advisor, Brian Schmecke, and our Executive Director, Amber Harris, and all of the other volunteers that worked so hard on this event. Please stand up and let's give them all a round of applause. I would also like to recognize Hema Colingreddy, the Berman Leadership Fund, and the Mike Cox Law Firm for sponsoring some student tables here tonight, as it's really important to engage our youth and get them involved to become our future party leaders, as they will be the ones to carry on our conservative principles. We have many elected officials and law enforcement personnel in this room. Thank you for your service. And I'm glad you're all here tonight to support your local Republican Party. As it said, all politics is local. So it's important to be involved to ensure we have a strong foundation to win back our county and state from the out-of-touch liberal Democrats. With that said, the Lincoln Dinner is our biggest annual fundraiser for the Oakland County Republican Party, and we have definitely set new records here tonight. I don't know the final numbers on attendance yet. I've been being asked by the media, but we'll probably have to add at least a couple hundred or so from all the people Mark Zarkin let in the back doors. All jokes aside, Mark, if it wasn't for you, President Trump wouldn't be here with us tonight, and we wouldn't require such a large venue with this record-setting crowd. President Trump gave a great message when he spoke to us here 10 years ago. And since then, he's taken the political world by storm. I look forward to hearing from him again tonight. On behalf of the Oakland County Republican Party, the Lincoln Day Dinner Committee, thank you all for supporting us and coming here tonight. Please enjoy your evening.
Ladies and gentlemen, our program will restart in about 10 minutes.
So we have just started the program here, the 2023 Lincoln Day Dinner in Novi, Michigan. People are starting to take their seats. There's a buffet line, so people are in line for their food. And they said in about 10 minutes we'll get started with the invocation, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance played by Ted Nugent. Talking about the Bidens, as we were mentioning before the program began, we really need to pay attention to what's going on with them, the corruption. I really believe that this is all going to come to light. This is the beginning of the end of the Bidens. I firmly believe that, because for so long they have, gotten away with so much corruption and lies and you name it. And I think it took what happened to Trump, them accusing Trump of what they're actually doing, for people to really realize, wait a minute. You know, it's kind of like when they say, when someone accuses you of something that you're doing is wrong, it's usually the accuser who's doing the wrong. Well, that's really what's going on here. The people who are accusing Trump are really the corrupt ones. Whether that's the DOJ, whether that's the FBI, whether that's the Bidens, whether that's the Clintons, whether that's the Obamas, the ones who are pointing the fingers are usually the ones in the wrong. And I think it took this, unfortunately, for Trump, for people to realize and for this all really start to come to light, because if it wasn't for them accusing Trump of the Russia, the boxes hoax at the Mar-a-Lago estate, all of these accusations against him, but nothing was ever going on with the Clintons or the Bidens. Where are her emails? Why did nothing ever happen with that? Why is nothing happening to Hunter and his tax fraud? So when you look at President Trump being accused of something he didn't do that created this firestorm from America, from you sitting at home saying, oh, no, you're not going to attack our president, and come up with continuous lies against this man who did so much good for our country in 4 years. So good that the left cannot stand him. They can't stand how good of a job he did. So they are just trying to bring him down. So it took you, the Americans, these Republicans in Congress, these MAGA Republicans in Congress, to say, oh, no, we're coming after you, Biden. If you're going to attack our man, we're coming after you. And so that means his son as well. So it really, unfortunately for Trump, again, had to take this to happen for this firestorm to erupt, to bring down the Biden family. And again, I believe, in my opinion, that this is the beginning of the end of the Biden regime. Now, there's word on, social media and from different Republicans that Biden may not be the nominee in 2024. I can see both sides. I think that he's a Muppet, and he is, as you all well know, walking around being told what to do and what to say, because he clearly doesn't know where he is or what he's doing or what he's saying from day to day. So someone's controlling him. So from that aspect, I can see him still being the nominee because they want somebody that they control. But at the same time, I can see, where California Governor Newsom would want to get out from the shadows and jump in and throw his hat in the ring as well. So we'll see what happens. I mean, there's a lot of talk and corruption in the backgrounds that the average American person, you and I, don't know about, but we'll see what happens. All we do know is that we need Trump back in office. That's what's going to save this country. And as I mentioned earlier, if you weren't joined in with us yet, the first thing we need to do is pray hard, and then get to work, boots on the ground in your community, really supporting and backing this president. And if you feel that you're a Republican congressperson who is a senator or a representative in your district isn't doing their job, call them. I am telling you right now, call them. You voted for them to work for you. And if they aren't working for you, then call them and ask them why. Why are they not? Because what they want to do is get elected again. And if they know that their constituents, their people in their districts are not supporting them or are mad at them, maybe they'll change their ways, but they need to feel the heat, and that's only going to come from the people at home. So if you feel that those who are representing you in your district aren't doing a great job, call their office. Call them every day. Leave messages every day. Don't stop. Tell your neighbors to call them too, your moms, your sisters, your uncles, cousins. Tell them as well. Because we've got to get these rhinos out of office, and we've got to get these MAGA Republicans who are conservative. They have these conservative values, God-first values, Save America, America first, America first, America first. I am so tired of this administration putting America last. Like, who in their right mind would support this? Like, why people would still support this is beyond me. I can't fathom. I can't even comprehend it in the least. So we need to get America first back in there. You know, I'm looking at 6 beautiful American flags at the center of the stage here today at this Lincoln dinner. And all of a sudden, my mind, just talking about what we were just talking about, goes back to the Pride event at the White House just a couple of weeks ago, when the American flag was not front and center. The Pride flag was. This is our administration right now. America's not first. Their corrupt ideologies is what they want to be first. They don't want the America that we know and love. They want that to be gone. They want that to be history. They want that away. They want to control you. Did you hear Biden the other day say that your kid is all of our kids? No, sir. My child is my child. And the government will never control my child. That's what they want. Control, America. We've got to put an end to it. And if we don't, we won't know our country anymore. The America that we know and love, that our grandparents grew up in, our parents grew up in, how they raised us, is all going to be our past history. You know, I do talk to these migrants who come over from other countries as I go from rally to rally and event to event, and they're scared. They came to America for the American dream. They came to America for freedom. And there is not one that I have spoken to who says, oh, everything's great. No, they're scared. They say, what is happening right now today in America is exactly what we ran from, is exactly what we fled from. That's why we came here. Where are we going to go next? Well, I don't have an answer for them. Where are we going to go? If we become extremists, if we become communists, we're already getting there. We can't allow it to happen. So we need to make a pact. Everybody watching RSBN right now, we need to make a pact. We will not let this happen. And so it's events like this, like one of the organizers was talking about earlier. It's events like this that gets people fired up. It gets them energized and ready to hit the campaign trail and take back our country. All right, we're just moments away from the beginning of this dinner, running a little behind. All right, so I'm looking at Truth Social right now. Again, if you're just joining us, follow me there. Join the conversation. I would love to talk to you. I love talking to the viewers, so you don't just have to hear me the whole time we're live. We can talk to each other. This one's coming from, I don't know how to pronounce this, but it's Beauceant. She says, listening to you now, please help. Democrats are destroying my old hometown, city of Lakes Madison, Wisconsin. In 2 years, Dems turned downtown into an unrecognizable city. Grown men without cars, jobs, but have cigarettes and phones. They harass people, especially ladies. How can they use my tax dollars as welfare magnets for these losers? She says. Democrats pick the most beautiful waterfront cities to destroy. Please do something, President Trump. Save Madison, Wisconsin from Tony Evers and his band of misfit toys. You know, you're absolutely right. Crime is everywhere, unfortunately, even in the smaller towns. But it's really these Democrat cities where we see the harshest crimes. And it's really sad when we see these conservative communities, these small, tight-knit communities being destroyed by people with their liberal ways and people who just don't really have any morals, I guess you could say. You know, they don't see the difference between right and wrong. Crime is okay. They feel like they're just going to get a slap on the hand and get away with it and do it right back, over again tomorrow, and that's not okay. I will tell you, a really sad story. I haven't stopped thinking about this today. I was on my way from the airport to my hotel, and I was talking to the Uber driver who is from Detroit, and we were just talking, I was telling him first time in Michigan, where are some great places to go if I had any time, and out of the blue, he says, I lost one of my friends 2 weeks ago. And I said, oh, really? What happened? He says he was an Uber driver, and he said, and he picked up someone, and the criminal shot him in the back of the head. How sad. That was in here in Detroit. Now, that's what he says. I haven't had time to verify and look at the news articles on that. I do want to read up, because he was telling me about his friend who was married and had 2 small children at home. So I do want to read up on his friend later on tonight when I have time, when I get back to the hotel room. But let me tell you, this is what's going on in Democrat-run cities. We see it all the time. Smash and grabs. Businesses are closing down. Small businesses can't even stay open. These retail stores are having to board up and shut down because they can't stay open because, 1, they're losing money from being stolen from. 2, people can't shop because they can't afford to shop in Biden's America. And 3, people are just stealing. People are they're coming in, stealing, and leaving. So it's just really sad. You watch all these videos everywhere, and they just come in by the droves, dozens of them, smashing windows. The clerks are scared for their lives. They're having to protect themselves. And, what's more important, your life or the items in your store? So they protect themselves first, and you see these crooks and these criminals in these Democrat-run cities really just smashing these windows and just going at it. They're leaving with trash bags full of items. And so what happens? Nothing. Not in Biden's America. Nothing happens. So that was what I was saying earlier. What's wrong is right, and what's right is wrong in Biden's America. Go ahead, steal, ruins people's livelihoods. They don't know how they're going to put dinner on the table for their family tonight because you stole everything that they had. But that's okay. The crooks can do what they want. Go do it again tomorrow at another store. So this has to end. And so, again, though, there's hope, because when you come into these Democrat-run cities and you talk to the people on the ground, they say they are fed up, and they are Trump fans, because they know that this would not be going on under Trump. Again, crime happens everywhere, different crimes of different sorts, so crime altogether will not end. It's not going to be a perfect country, a perfect society. But what we're seeing now is to the likes we've never seen before, and hopefully something happens soon, because Americans are really suffering, and it's hurting them in the pocketbook when these thieves come in. And also, like I mentioned, our Uber drivers are scared for their lives now, and it's not just Uber, it's it was an Uber driver who I was speaking to today, but it's any body who is doing a ride-share program. So you got to be really careful in any job that you're working, anytime you're in the public, because it's just a sad time. People are getting very desperate and committing the worst of crimes and getting away with it. So thank you for your comments. I appreciate talking to you, and hopefully we can get your hometown up and running again and back to normal, where everyone feels safe in their homes at night. We have Callum 4016 who says, my work leadership is all Democrat. I avoid them at all costs, or I might get fired. That's the best thing you can do, is just, sometimes. Look, I'm from mainstream media. I appreciate the corporations that gave me the jobs that I had in my entire career. If it weren't for them, I probably wouldn't be standing here today. I gained lots of experience, had a blast getting to know all the people who I interviewed throughout the years, community people, loved my job. However, again, it was mainstream media, so I am with you. Let's see, Callum 4016, every day I had to go into work. And yeah, no, Brian. He did just message me, though. Brian, if you're watching, you have a viewer here. He's asking for you. So back to my story. So, yeah, I had to go into work every day and not say a word. But you know what the best was? the best night of my career. And this is the honest to God truth. I tell people this all the time. It's the 2016 election night. You know, Hillary Clinton was expected to win, right? That's what all the polls were showing. Hillary Clinton was on top. She was going to beat Donald Trump. He didn't stand a chance. He should just go home. Well, they had me at the big board for the Electoral College calling out the states as they were called. And so I was like, oh, no, this is going to be the worst job of the night because I'm going to have to keep showing this state was called for Hillary, this state was called for Hillary. And her numbers would go up, and I'd have to announce that she'd be president-elect. Well, it was the opposite. And when I'm telling you, ended up being the best job of the night because Trump's winning the state. Trump has won the state. Trump now nails this state. His numbers are going up. Hillary's are sitting low. And again, I couldn't really say much, but as soon as I got in the car and got home, I was jumping up and down, so excited that President Trump won the presidency and he was our president-elect. So I'm with you, to the viewer who just wrote in. I have been there plenty of times where I couldn't really say much because the majority were Democrat, but just go do your job, go home and enjoy life and your family, and just remember, if it's not a career for you, earn your paycheck and support your family the best way that you can, but don't get fired. That's not worth it. Taking a look around again, just showing you the crowd. I love showing you the crowd because when you come to these events, they're so, I don't know how to explain it. People ask me, what's it like seeing President Trump? And I've seen him so many times. All I can tell people is it never gets old. There's this energy in the room. People are so excited, eager to see him, but you really have to be there and feel it. I can't explain it. I don't know. Maybe there's a word out there. I'll have to get on thesaurus later and look it up. But I don't know if there is even a word to describe President Trump's energy. But I love showing you the crowd and the people so you can kind of get an idea of what we're seeing here. Talking about President Trump now, he wants to restore free speech. If we don't have free speech, then we don't have a free country. He says it's just as simple as that, and it really is. If this most fundamental right is allowed to perish, then the rest of our rights and liberties will topple just like dominoes one by one. They'll all go down. This is from his agenda. 47. When you talk to President Trump or hear President Trump speak about restoring free speech, he says he wants to shatter the left-wing censorship regime and to reclaim the right to free speech for all Americans. He also wants to have a total ban on taxpayer dollars used to free illegal aliens and criminal penalties for administrative noncompliance. Also, a total ban on taxpayer dollars used, yes, again, for illegal aliens. He says far more illegal immigrants have entered the U.S. in the last 2 years than in any time in American history. And he is absolutely right about that. The illegal immigration numbers have shot through the roof because there is no border. It's open. The Biden administration says, oh, come on in. We'll take you. We don't know who you are. We don't know where you're from. We don't know your name. We don't know these people who you're holding hands with when you're coming across the border. But hey, come on in. Come into our neighborhoods. It doesn't work that way. If that's the way it's going to be, we don't have a country. We've got to get a handle on who these people are. And I want to ask you this. The people who come in the right way, who come in the legal way, who want to come and work and live the American dream and better themselves and better their lives and better their careers and have, you know, a family to support and just have freedom. They want that American dream. How do you think they feel to think, I came in and did this the right way. I went through all the paperwork, everything I needed to do to get here. And they're just letting anybody in now. If I was them, I wouldn't be too happy. He also talks about making war on the cartels. Hey, the cartels are here. They're on our lands. They're in our neighborhoods. And you know what? Sadly, they are probably, I don't want to say in our schools, like literally, physically in our schools, but they're in contact with children. Fentanyl is coming across the border in record droves. Every time I turn around, they have fentanyl and another substance that looks like candy. Our children don't know what they're eating. And the next thing you know, they're dead. And we're burying them. Drug cartels. Illegals.
Ladies and gentlemen,
we've got to put an end to it.
Legendary guitarist
Here's Ted
Nugent performing the Star Spangled Banner.
It's real Michigan. I love real Michigan. God bless you all. My name is Ted Nugent, and I'm a radical. Hi, my name is Ted Nugent. I'm from Detroit. I'm an extremist. You know how extreme I am? I dare to experiment in self-government. Let me guess. Do you know how honored and humbled, inspired, motivated, stimulated I am to be here with real Michigan? I love real Michigan. I love real America. See that flag right there? That's my pride flag right there. That's what that is. I'm so radical, I believe in God, family, country, Constitution, Bill of Rights, 10 Commandments, Golden Rule, Declaration of Independence, that Michigan work ethic that once provided the greatest quality of life in the history of mankind. I love you people. And since we're here to celebrate the greatest president in the history of the United States, we might as well have the most extreme shit-kicker Detroiter in the history of Michigan. So thank you. I will now perform a very passionate, fire-breathing, star-spangled banner. For freedom is not free, and I have heroes here tonight from the U.S. Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the U.S. Marine Corps, the National Guard, the Coast Guard. We got Navy SEALs here. Say thank you to the Navy SEALs, the Green Berets, the Army Rangers, the heroes in law enforcement. And you know who the heroes in the military and law enforcement are? They're the ones that will defy an immoral command. Heroes defy an oath-violating, immoral command. So thank you for standing. And now my guitar does not gently weep. Now, everybody go forth and convince your family, your friends, your neighbors, your fishing buddies, your hunting buddies at the barbecue. It is your moral obligation to convince everybody in your life that the only way to save America is to vote for Donald J. Trump. Donald J. Trump is the warrior. He's the man in the arena. And if we cannot convince enough Americans to overwhelmingly support this great man, then we deserve what we get. So raise hell like you mean it. I love real Michigan. Thank you very much.
Just heard from Ted Nugent, the national anthem from the legendary guitarist. And I love when he talks about the American flag. He says, "This is my pride flag." And It definitely is. We take a lot of pride in the American flag and what Old Glory stands for. We can never forget why we fly the American flag. Let's talk about President Trump's plans for restoring law and order. You know, in these Democrat-run cities, they want to defund the police. They want to wipe out the police department.
Please welcome Oakland County's own Ken Rinke.
And we'll talk more about that. Now we have another break in the program.
Welcome. Tonight, we are at ground zero in Michigan for Republicans and Republican candidates. I want to thank everyone in attendance tonight. Your commitment to freedom, your willingness to back leaders that support our country and our Constitution is compelling. Most Americans are not aware that in our world history, the average republic lasted roughly 18 years. America is an exception. We've made it through 247 years thus far. During those years, our country has been faced with tremendous challenges: wars, depression, drought, slavery, pandemics, and establishing women's rights. In every instance, it's been Republican leaders that have guided our country to solutions that have protected the Republic and its people. You see, Republicans won't back down. As we approach the 2024 election cycle, Republicans in Michigan and America need to decide: should we unite and win, or stay divided and suffer the consequences of 4 more years of far-left agendas that favor world order in woke social environments? I believe the 2024 elections are an opportunity for Republicans to put aside intra-party fighting. We need to consider what it takes to win truthfully versus putting forward candidates that don't have the ability to win or the skill set that delivers for our state and country. Republicans are tough. We are fighters, but so is the left. The real question we need to ask ourselves is, can our party adapt to today's issues? Can our common sense approach attract new friends and faces? Ronald Reagan envisioned our party as a Big Ten. He believed that we should not exclude people because of minor differences. Rather, as he famously stated, the person who agrees with you 80% is an ally, not a 20% traitor. There's another great American who's going to be in the House who expressed it another way in his book, The Art of the Deal. He said both sides need to win to get something from a deal. These 2 examples speak for themselves. They represent winning for you, our party, and our people. When I ran for governor, I thought we needed a business person to manage the business of Michigan. Instead, a divided party allowed the left to re-elect someone who only knows politics. All of us in this room tonight are paying for it now, and our kids will continue to pay for it into the future. In Michigan, I don't believe we should have a declining population. We should not have a failing public school system that continues to move further from literacy and closer to social indoctrination. Michigan should not accept having one of the lowest college retention rates in the country. Even as the press spins it, in a different narrative, these realities expand and Michigan suffers. I believe we need to win 2024 or face a very real possibility that our current governor's failures will be rewarded with a promotion to Washington. Look at how another liberal ex-Michigan governor is impacting our state and country today. Can Michigan or America survive another lost decade? Can we accept bad decisions and poor leadership at the highest levels? Do you want to find out? I don't. As I said earlier, Republican citizens and leaders have saved our state in the past, and frankly, we need Republicans to rise to the occasion again. Remember, just 4 years ago, we had a leader in Washington that was taking on the establishment and pushing back on business as usual. America was seen as tough to our adversaries, and we took major terrorists off the battlefields. The decisions being made were to do what was right, not what poll tested the strongest. We had policies that helped lift up the middle class, made us energy independent. We had a safer border. We had one of the largest tax cuts in our history and a soaring economy. We also had a leader who focused on the future of our country and ensured a conservative Supreme Court for generations to come. I don't know about you, but it felt good to me. I thought it was incredible. To wrap things up tonight, I'd like to talk about a few things that we in Oakland County stand for. Oakland County Republicans understand and stand for the Constitution. We stand for freedom, the ability to speak without censorship. We respect our families, and we understand that kids belong to parents and not the government. In Oakland County, we recognize that private business and private enterprise are key drivers for our country and our economy. Our party supports minorities and working families. We are not their enemy. There's a shared belief among many of us here tonight that our state and federal government has become too bureaucratic, that our government leaders need to prioritize serving our citizens rather than their own interests. We take inspiration from our past success in Oakland County, knowing that our goal of winning is within our reach. The determination and passion in the room tonight's electrifying. Republicans in Oakland County embody the spirit of freedom and resilience needed to win again in Michigan as well as nationwide. All of you are fighters who, like me, won't back down. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the coming months on the front lines as we work to make Michigan and America great again. God bless you. God bless Oakland County, and God bless America.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Congressman John James.
Here he is, John James, folks.
All right. How's everybody doing tonight? Well, in case you guys are wondering why I'm looking like a middle-aged dad who just left his kid's baseball game, it's true. But I'm so excited to be here tonight. You know, as I was leaving, I said, hey, my oldest son, John, it's like, hey, good luck, buddy. I got to go see some of my friends. And I gave him a little hug and a kiss. And he said, good luck on your speech, Daddy. I'll be okay. And I got a note from my wife saying that he led the rally and drove in 2 runs, and he scored a few minutes later. So right now, you're not only looking at an underdressed person, but a very, very proud dad. And I'm so proud to be here with you today. And I'm so proud to be the congressman from Michigan's 10th Congressional District. I'm so proud to say thank you for putting me there. We fought hard in 2018 and fell just short, but you didn't give up. We came back in 2020 and we fought hard and we fell short, but we didn't give up. But by the grace of God and with your help and your donations and your walking in the winter and walking in the summertime, we prevailed in Michigan's 10th Congressional District, and we're going to take our country back one step at a time. Because here in Michigan, we don't give up. We don't give up. The Republican Party was founded in Michigan. People seem to forget that. And they forget that because we don't tell them. We are leaving vacuums in the cities and the campuses all over the country, and we're expecting a return where we haven't made an investment. Well, we must be bold, we must proclaim, and we must be fearless to take our country back. The Republican Party is the party of emancipation. Republicans march down into hostile territory to fight for people who can never say thank you. And I am the walking result of the American dream, just a handful of generations out of slavery. And now I am a 10th Congressional District congressman. Anything is possible in this country, and it's worth fighting for. I'm so glad to be surrounded by patriots just like you who understand that and feel it in their bones and are not willing to take anything less than acceptance of this great country requires sacrifice in order to maintain. GOP is a party of emancipation. Abraham Lincoln was a great emancipator, and we stand on his shoulders, his great legacy. But right now, we are standing with people who, within our own borders, are willing to tear that down. Far-left extremists, led by the White House, who truly, it seems, want to hurt this country. I don't believe that many people on the left truly believe that our founding documents mean what they say, but we're going to remind them. This Republican majority, this slim Republican majority, is the backstop for freedom. It's the last line of defense, and we have to do everything that we can to protect this country. Me and my colleagues are fighting for a few important issues, namely the Americans' Confidence in Elections Act. We the people deserve a government that answers to us. They owe us answers, not the other way around. We're fighting to protect our seniors, Social Security and Medicare, which I said from day one during the debt ceiling debate that it would be separated from that debate so our seniors would get back what they put in. I authored this bill, and it was taken up. I also voted to create the Committee on China and the CCP, and I introduced a No American Tax Dollars to CCP Act. Hey, raise your hand if you want your hard-earned tax dollars to go to the CCP. Raise your hand if you appreciate Gretchen Whitmer and Joe Biden sending your middle class to China. We got to do more than boo. We have to make sure our voice is heard in Lansing and make sure our voice is heard in Washington and send people who will put your interests first and not China's. Just this past week, I voted to censure Adam Schiff. possibly the greatest example of why nobody trusts Congress. I also introduced a bill to expand the Trump-era opportunity zones championed by Senator Tim Scott and President Trump. In my district and in every district across the country, talent is evenly distributed across the population, but opportunity is not. We need to make sure that we do everything that we can to make sure this opportunity makes it to Michigan. Speaking of which, of opportunity and favoritism, anybody heard about Hunter Biden? It is not normal for a president's son, or at the time a vice president's son, to be such a threat to our national security. It's not normal for a parent to be so relaxed about their son's drug problem. But you know what is normal? It is normal for my friend Rebecca Kiesling to be heartbroken when she loses her 2 sons to a fentanyl overdose. That's normal. To fight all the way to Washington to make sure that her voice is heard and that doesn't happen to anybody else's sons. What is not normal is the fact that Joe Biden mocked her and laughed. You know, come to think of it, the media and the coastal elites sold us and I a whole idea that Joe Biden was a return to normalcy. Even Biden himself promised us a return to normalcy in March 2021. Normal. Does any of this feel normal to you? Is a topless party on the White House lawn, does that seem normal to you? Is inflationary curve so steep that families in my district are forced to cut their milk with water for their babies? Does that seem normal to you? Is the administration so afraid of our #1 adversary, the CCP, that our own Secretary of State can't even say we support a Taiwanese ally? Does that seem normal to you? Is it normal to watch the fall of Afghanistan and 13 of our heroic service members who lost their lives at the hands of the feeble leadership, and we surrendered billions and billions of dollars in weapons to the Taliban? Does that sound normal to you? Yeah, none of this is normal. But normal has become failing you under this Biden administration, and that stops in 2024, because in 2024, we fire Joe Biden. We are here because we believe in America, but most importantly, we believe in each other. We are not going to let backbiting lead to the backsliding of this nation. We need everyone in this room to get active, get inspired, remind your friends and family about the time not long ago when you could be proud of your country. You know, Joe Biden loves taking vacations so much. Let's send him on a permanent vacation back down to his basement next November. Thank you all for welcoming me here tonight. Thank you all for welcoming President Donald J. Trump. Let's win in 2024 and reignite America. Thank you. God bless Michigan. God bless America. And let's fly.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Chairman R. Vance Patrick.
Crowd. I can't say enough about my team that's put this together. Amber Harris, Terry Naumafu, we have busted Ryan Berman, Brian Schmecke. We're the first person, Amber's the first person I talk to every morning and the last person I talk to every night. Every night, 5:30 a.m. till midnight. So listen, people, what we need to do is we need to come together and we need to rally the troops, because that's what it's going to take to win the next election. So Michigan, listen, let's all come together. Vote red for Oakland County, vote red for Michigan, vote red for the United States, and vote for Donald Trump.
It's a high school prom, it's a Springsteen song, it's a ride in a Chevrolet. It's a man on the moon and fireflies in June and kids selling lemonade. It's cities and farms, it's open arms, one nation under God. It's America. I got home, I flipped the TV on. I saw a little town that some big twister tore apart. And people came from miles around just to help their neighbors out. And I was thinking to myself, I'm so glad that I live in America. It's a high school prom, it's a Springsteen song, it's a ride in a Chevrolet. It's a man on the moon and fireflies in June and kids selling lemonade. It's cities and farms, it's open arms, one nation under God. It's America.
Have another small break in the program. This is Vanessa Broussard with RSBN live from Novi, Michigan for the 2023 Lincoln Day Dinner. What a wonderful evening everyone is having at this cocktail attire event. President Donald J. Trump will be speaking soon, and he will also be presented with the Man of the Decade Award. What better award? I mean, just the words alone, you have to agree with. Man of the Decade. He truly is. He's a loved man. All the MAGA hats around here. I saw a woman with this huge hat on, not your average baseball cap. And I'm going to have to find her after the show and ask her who made that, where did she get it, because I need one. So a lot of Trump supporters here ready to see him. Hey, before we cut away to the programming a couple of minutes ago, we were talking about President Trump's plans to restore law and order in our country. As you know, these Democrat-run cities, they are wanting to defund the police, and he wants to back the police. He wants to back our military, our law enforcement, our military is replenishing, our law enforcement officers. Sometimes, a lot of times, you know, they feel like they don't have the backing necessary that they need. They don't have the support that they need in these liberal-run cities. But President Trump supports you. We, the Americans, support you, and thank you as well. Looking at President Trump's plans, he says there's never been anything like it. And that's when he talks about the bloodshed and the crime going on in our cities. He said his plan is to restore law and order in our cities and throughout the country. He says first, because police forces have been gutted by Democrats' war on police. He says he'll sign a record investment in hiring, retention, and training for police officers nationwide. President Trump says this bill will also increase vital liability protections for officers because the Democrats want to take those protections away from our police because they want them to do their jobs and we want them to do their jobs right. You can't take their protections away if you're going to have them do their jobs properly. And he's absolutely right when he says that. How do you expect them to do the jobs that they need to do to protect our communities, themselves when they don't have the means necessary because you're defunding them. President Trump says he also wants to qualify for this new funding and all other Justice Department grants. He will insist that local jurisdictions return to proven common sense policing measures, such as stop and frisk. Very simple, he says. You just stop them and you frisk them, strictly enforcing existing gun laws against
Ladies and
convicted
gentlemen,
felons.
Please welcome to the stage Congresswoman Lisa McClain.
And we'll be right back with you.
I love you too. And I love whoever got the stool. So thank you. So good evening, everyone. My name is Lisa McClain, and I am proud to represent Michigan's 9th District in Congress. It is an honor for me to be here today at the OCRP Lincoln Day dinner. But I have one question for all of you this evening. Who is ready to see the 45th president, soon to be the 47th president of the United States of America? I hear you, and I am excited too. But let me tell you why I'm excited. I'm excited to see Donald Trump because I am tired of trying to fight Joe Biden's radical leftist agenda alone. And I think it's time we kick Joe Biden out of the White House and put a conservative Republican back in that Oval Office. Let's reflect for a minute. Do we remember how good we had it from 2016 to 2020? Our economy was unstoppable. Our nation was secure. We actually supported our police officers, and we held China at bay. That was our America. But now, we're living in Joe Biden's America. And in Joe Biden's America, weakness is the national motto, and corruption is the name of the game. Just look at our southern border. Now I ask you, do you think our southern border is secure? Since Joe Biden took office, over 5 million illegal migrants have entered this country. Joe Biden stopped the construction of the Trump border wall, rescinded Title 42, and he put out a welcome mat to anyone and everyone on his very first day in office. And let's look at what happened since President Biden did this. Unfortunately, fentanyl has become the #1 killer of people from 18 to 45 years of age in this country. Crime and homelessness have risen dramatically, and innocent lives have been taken at the hands of criminals that don't belong in our United States. It is absolutely
worse. This is probably the most secure place in America right now. Maybe just some lighting issues. So we're working to... Okay, so now they're telling us we have bad weather outside. So we have storm conditions outside. So that is probably what's going on.
And the Lord said, let there be light.
Yes, the Lord said, let there be light, she said. So we are going to continue on with the program.
Must be too many people in this room, using too much electricity. Don't worry, those batteries will make everything better. But think about it for 1 minute. It is absolutely that is disgusting that Joe Biden has let this happen. And let's be clear, Joe Biden is to blame for the problem at the border. Let's not forget who's running the show at the border. It's not the so-called border czar, Kamala Harris. She can't find the border with both hands. It's DHS Secretary Mayorkas. He is a complete and utter embarrassment to this country. He has failed to secure the border, and he actually has the audacity to blame Republicans for not doing anything about it. Well, Mr. Secretary, we can do something about it, and we will do something about it. We can actually impeach you. And that's exactly what I called for on the House floor just a few weeks ago. Because too many lives have been lost not to take action. And let's be honest, if President Trump were in the White House, he would have taken action. In fact, if President Trump was in the White House, we'd have never been in this situation to begin with, because he had you safe and secure. But let's take a look at our economy. Joe Biden has spent trillions and trillions of your tax dollars on his woke agenda. And the only thing that has come from it is record high inflation. You're still paying more for gas, you're still paying more for groceries, and you're paying more for everything because Joe Biden decided to recklessly spend your money with a stroke of his pen. But Joe Biden hasn't stopped at tanking our economy. He's tanked our foreign policy too. Right now, as we speak, China is moving aggressively towards us, economically, militarily, and educationally. The president has been weak on China since his first day he took office. I can give you about 5 million reasons why. As a member of the Oversight Committee, I can tell you that our investigation has proven that the Biden family, including Hunter Biden, has received millions upon millions from China in a scheme to make them rich. And they have weaponized the DOJ to cover their tracks. But that's unfortunately not the worst of it. Joe Biden has used the Department of Justice to attack his #1 political opponent, Donald J. Trump. Now, I won't lie to you, none of this gives me much hope for this country or to be hopeful for this country. But let me tell you why I still have hope and why I still believe America is the greatest country on earth. It's because for about 250 years we have fought tooth and nail for a better tomorrow, one where freedom rings and faith in the American dream still exists. It's the America our founding fathers created, and it's the America we have got to protect. I think of the Revolutionary War and how it looked like all hope was lost as the British took New York and controlled the seas. I think of the Civil War, when our country was so divided that blood was spilled by our fellow Americans. I think of World War II, when it seemed like all hope was lost in Pearl Harbor. And I think of the Cold War, when the Soviets put us on the brink of nuclear destruction. Each of these events in history could have resulted in the end of America, but it didn't. And it didn't because there was one thing that kept us going through each of these difficult times. One thing, and that was our leaders and their leadership. The leadership of George Washington gave us our freedom. The leadership of Abraham Lincoln kept our union together. The leadership of Dwight D. Eisenhower led to the end of the Great War. And the leadership of Ronald Reagan ended the Cold War and tore down the Berlin Wall. These leaders were strong, they were decisive, and they did not waver. They believed in America and had hope for the future. They took action and they did what was best for our country. Today, what we need is that kind of leadership again. The current president cannot lead. He never has. He flip-flops on positions, lies, blames everyone but himself for his failures, and let me tell you, he has a lot of failures. He may hold the title of the free world, but the truth is that he hasn't led one single day since he's been in office. But do you know who does know how to lead? President Donald J. Trump. He is the leader this country needs, and it can turn the United States around and make America great again. We saw it happen for 4 years. We lived it for 4 years. And I don't know about you, but I think it's time for another 4 years, ladies and gentlemen. And that is why Donald Trump has my unwavering endorsement for President of the United States. And I know he has your endorsement too. He is what we need to get this country back on track and make America great again. I want to thank Vance Patrick, OCRP, for hosting this incredible Lincoln Day dinner. I want to thank all of you for showing up and supporting the Republican Party here in Michigan. Thank God for Donald J. Trump. Thank God for you. God bless our state. And now let's give a warm welcome to the next president, Donald J. Trump. Please watch it. Please take a look at the screen.
This sounds like political presidential talk to me, and I know people have talked to you about whether or not you want to run. Would you ever?
But, you know, I just probably wouldn't do it, Oprah. I probably wouldn't, but I do get tired of seeing what's happening with this country. And if it got so bad, I would never want to rule it out totally, because I really am tired of seeing what's happening with this country, how we're really making other people live like kings, and we're not.
Inflation in the U.S. is now at 6.5% higher in December compared to a year ago.
A state of emergency at the Texas border.
We turn to the other news this Sunday night and to the somber homecoming for the 13 brave Americans killed in Thursday's attack at the Kabul airport.
You're a golfer.
Yeah.
Why don't you just play golf? Why would you want to give up a great life and go back to that hellhole?
Because I love the country.
Donald Trump wins the presidency.
Crews break ground on a new section of wall along the U.S.-Mexico border.
We have seen month after month of solid job growth.
And we are going to make our country great again.
But you are going to be so proud of your country, because we're going to turn it around. I just told them I've got to come over and see the fake news. Let's go.
We will bring back our jobs. We will bring back our borders. No challenge can match the heart and fight and spirit of America. I will fight for you with every breath in my body, and I will never, ever let you down. My fellow Americans, our movement is far from over. In fact, our fight has only just begun.
Be advised, the president is en route.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the next president of the United States, President Donald J. Trump.
And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston and New York to LA, where there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. The men who died, who gave that right to me, and I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
Thank you very much, Lisa. It's great to be back in Michigan. We love Michigan with the amazing Patriots of Oakland County. And tonight I'm deeply honored to receive the Oakland County GOP's Man of the Decade Award for the second time. Second time, wow. Almost 10 years to this day ago. It was a great honor. In 2013, I received it, and I remember I got up and I said, how come you're allowing them to take away your car business? What did I know, right? But I was right about that. But it's really an honor to be with you. I want to thank Oakland County Republican Party Chairman Vance Patrick, great guy. Great guy. I also want to recognize Michigan State Senators Jim Runstad and Jonathan Lindsay. They're great people. Thank them from the bottom of my heart. They gave us a beautiful endorsement. We appreciate that. Michael and so many of my friends are sitting right out there. Thank you very much. Michigan GOP Chairwoman Christina Carano. Christina Carano she's a hard worker. She's working very hard. She wants to keep this as a very honest election, not easy to do. One of the great senators, one of the most powerful people. By the way, an incredible football coach. He was an incredible football coach, and now he's an incredible senator. Tommy Tuberville of Alabama. Where's Tommy? Tommy! He's an incredible man. Thank you. And they love him in Alabama. They love him all over the country. Somebody that really put up a good fight, fought very, very hard for Governor Tudor Dixon. Where's Tudor? She's a terrific person, and she fought hard. A friend of all of ours and a very well-known person in Michigan. He's a great restaurateur, Mark Zarkin. Thank you very much, Mark. It was a fantastic job. The food is very good, Mark. We could use him in a lot of our cities all over the country. If we could get a little younger version, he doesn't mind when I say that. I said what this city needs is a young Rudy Giuliani, and he's here. Where is he? Where is Rudy? Rudy, you're fantastic, Rudy. greatest mayor in the history of New York, and also our friends with the Dominican fathers and sisters of the Immaculate Heart of Mary. They're with us tonight. They've been with us right from the beginning. They're here someplace. Thank you, and thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Right from the beginning. And by the way, you see Biden now, the real Biden, on religion. He's not in favor of religion. He can talk all he wants, but what they've done to Catholics and what they've done to evangelicals, what they've done to everybody is a disgrace. So the sisters got it long before anybody else, and we appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you, all of you, for being here. It's a great honor. For 7 years, all of us have been fighting side by side to rescue our country from the sinister forces who truly hate our country and want to destroy it. And now we are approaching the most important battle of our lives. This is the most important election we've ever had, without question. On November 5th, 2024, we are going to stand up to the Marxists, the communists, the fascists, and the globalists. And we're going to win. We're going to win. We're going to win big. We're going to evict crooked Joe Biden from the White House. You notice I took the word away. I retired the word from crooked Hillary Clinton because I felt that Joe Biden needed it much more. He's crooked Joe. We're going to finish what we started, and we will make America great again. We will. For decades, the globalists, vultures in Washington viciously betrayed Michigan workers and families like nobody can even believe. And they threw open our borders, plundering your factories and shipping your jobs to foreign lands, sometimes to lands that you've never even heard of. Michigan lost nearly 40% of all manufacturing jobs, everything, after the NAFTA catastrophe and China's entrance into the World Trade Organization. Yeah, sit down, everybody. Yeah, sit down. I'm excited to be here also. Sit down. We'll be with you for a little while. Sit down and enjoy it. I think everybody, great. Great. I'm very honored by the fact you stand, but you sit down. Thank you. But after years of cruel sellouts by past leaders, you finally got a president who put Michigan first and put America first. It took a long time. And just as I promised, I saved the U.S. auto industry from total destruction. And I talked about it 10 years ago, 12 years ago. I talked about it for a long time, what they've done. They've taken almost 50% of manufacturing ability and brought it into other countries. Other countries are making cars now at a level that nobody can believe. I ended the disaster known as NAFTA, the worst trade deal ever made, and replaced it with the best trade deal ever made, the USMCA, that's Mexico and Canada. The USMCA is creating tens of thousands of jobs in the United States, and it's just been amazing the way it's worked. In fact, the jobs are so strong here that Mexico and Canada want to renegotiate the deal. Isn't that nice? Tommy Tuberville says, isn't that nice? Because we have had bad deals, every single one, but with tough new requirements to ensure more cars are made in American factories by American workers, and it's happening right here in Michigan. And this had nothing to do with the Democrats. They're going to end it. They want every car to be all electric, except you don't make all electric cars too much. You know who does? China. China makes them. The deal was so good that Mexico and Canada now, as I said, are working very diligently to destroy that deal and replace it with a deal that's very much in their favor. Don't do it, Biden administration. Don't do it. When I took office, the job-killing Trans-Pacific Partnership was set to slaughter U.S. automakers. It was slaughtering them. It was going to be a disaster. I stopped it. I vetoed it. I stopped it in its tracks. Every worker and supplier at Ford, GM, and Chrysler would have been crushed. They would have been out of business. It would have taken them out of business. Nobody understood it. Now they understood it. Joe Biden and Ron DeSanctimonious were both all in favor of it, but we stopped it cold. If I hadn't, you wouldn't have any auto production in Michigan. Just as I promised the people of Michigan, I withdrew from, it's called TPP, nice name, TPP. I withdrew on day one. I totally renegotiated Obama and Biden's horrendous Korea trade deal, one of the worst trade deals. But I renegotiated it. It would have flooded our market with foreign pickup trucks and cars, decimating your industry. I ended it, and I made it into a great deal. It's now a great deal for you. I also placed historic tariffs on all foreign aluminum and foreign steel, which saved your steel industry. Otherwise, you wouldn't even have a steel industry. And if you don't have steel, you don't have a country. Like borders, like elections, you got to have real elections. We don't have real elections. We have fake elections. I stood up to China like no administration has ever done before, bringing in hundreds of billions of dollars pouring into our treasury from China, when no other president had gotten them to pay even 10 cents. China never gave us anything except lip service. And when China targeted our farmers, which they did viciously and violently, I said to our Secretary of Agriculture, what's the damage that they did over the years? It was $28 billion. So I gave our farmers $28 billion from China. I got it from China, straight out of the tariffs that China was paying. $28 billion to our farmers. That's why when they say, how are you doing in Iowa? How are you doing in Nebraska? I said, there's no way the farmers are voting against me. I got them $28 billion, but you never know, do you? Except we just had a poll come out of Iowa where I'm leading by 47%, so I'd have to lose pretty quickly. Now, we're doing great in Iowa. We're doing great all over. Ron DeSantis opposed my China tariffs very strongly, and simply put, he sided with the communists in China while I fought for workers in America, and successfully fought, successfully like nobody has ever fought so successfully. No president has fought harder either for Michigan than I have. No president has ever fought harder. I saw what was happening from day one. And sadly, none has betrayed Michigan more than crooked Joe Biden. He's betrayed your state because he's allowing people to take away your jobs at a level that nobody's ever seen before. You'll see it over the next couple of years. Right now, you're not feeling it as much because of what we did, but you'll see it. For 3 years, Biden and his radical left allies have waged war on American auto workers like nobody has witnessed to this extent before. In his ridiculous crusade to force everyone into electric cars. And by the way, they have a place. Right now, they're selling at about 5%. They have a place. They want them to sell at 100%. But we don't have the goods to make them. You know who has the goods? China has the goods. China has the countries and controls the countries with what they need for the batteries. But you know, we have more than anybody else, including Saudi Arabia and Russia. We have liquid gold right under our feet. Biden has doubled the CAFE standards, costing automakers an estimated $200 billion, and that number is going up, and sending car prices skyrocketing and killing thousands and thousands of U.S. auto jobs. In addition to which you can't produce because you can't get the chips, and you can't have, your supply chain is a disaster. The whole country is a mess. Biden is a catastrophe for Michigan, and his environmental extremism is heartless and disloyal and horrible for the American worker, and you're starting to see it. Driven by his ridiculous regulations, electric cars will kill more than half of U.S. auto jobs and decimate the suppliers. They're being decimated already. Decimate the suppliers, and it's going to decimate your jobs, and it's going to decimate more than anybody else the state of Michigan. It's going to be decimation. It's going to be at a level that people can't even imagine. Meanwhile, the cars don't go far. The range is even worse in the winter. The materials are all made in China, and it takes so much energy to produce the batteries that electric cars don't even break even environmentally for at least 5 to 10 years. They'll never break even. It's a catastrophe waiting to happen. And if somebody wants an electric car, I'm all for it. But you should be able to have a choice of many different versions of automation and automobiles. It's crazy what they're doing. You know, in California, they're talking about all electric cars, and yet they're having blackouts all summer long. We have no electricity. Now they want to go all electric. And you know, some people want to be able to drive more than an hour and a half. The governor of your state is now giving away hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars of Michigan taxpayer money to Chinese companies, and one in particular called Grosjean, to build batteries in Michigan. Now, it sounds good, but the money's going to Chinese companies. And then they're going to leave. They're planning to leave. You watch. They'll take our money, and then they say, bye-bye, you stupid fools. That's good for China, but it's bad for America. It's bad for Michigan. And it's very bad for the unions. You know, I'm somebody that gets along with the unions. Actually, the top people are so in love with Democrats because they go to parties together and all. But the people that are in the union, they love me. You know, when I approved the Keystone Pipeline, I met the pipeline workers, and they were all for me. They were all for me. But their leader was against me. He was for Joe Biden. And this was the biggest pipeline, one of the biggest pipelines in the world. 50,000 jobs. And on day one, they terminated the Keystone Pipeline. So I wonder how that man did. He didn't do too well. The head of the union was a disaster. But you know, the union workers support me far more than they support Democrats. And they're great people, and they're talented people, and they've been treated very badly, and their leadership, they pay their dues and everything, and their leadership has treated union workers very, very badly, very unfairly. This maniacal push for all electric cars is killing the United States, killing Michigan, is a total boon for China, and it's because Biden is being paid off, we just found out yesterday. He's being paid off by China. He's been paid millions and millions of dollars in bribes. They're bribing him. And all of those people, see these people, they don't want to talk about it. I just saw a camera go off right now. They don't want to hear about it, even though it's 100%. The reason that this is happening, and the reason that all of these things are taking place with China and there's no retribution, is because he's being paid off. And you know who likes all electric cars is the companies that are doing the best with all electric cars? Do you know who it is? The tow truck companies. Those tow truck, and I love them too. I love them too. I probably won't get their vote, but I'll get everybody else's vote. No, the tow truck companies, because they don't know where the hell to charge their car. They're in the middle of the country. Oh my, what do I do? Where's the charger? You're not gonna find. Yeah, and you know who boosts up the chargers? Huh? Do you know who does it? Oil and gas and coal. That's the one that boosts the charger. The whole thing is crazy. This country has gone crazy. You know, I said recently at a speech, I thought it was quite clever. So far, nobody's really mentioned it, because if I'm clever, they don't like talking about it. Although we've been getting quite good reviews. We did a good one last night. Got a lot of good reviews. And the polls are the reviews because we're leading by so much. But you know, I said the other day, we're like April Fool's Day. Everything's the opposite. They want open borders so that people can flood our country. They come from insane asylums. They come from mental institutions. They come from prisons. They come from all sorts of places. We don't even know who they are. We don't even know what countries they're coming from. That's April Fools. Who wants an open border? We want people to come into our country. Rudy understands that better than anybody, but they have to come in legally. The job you did in New York was so amazing. You don't get enough credit for it. They want high, that's very impressive, Rudy, by the way. They want high interest rates. They want high taxes. They want to quadruple your taxes. Now, that's April Fool's. Who ever heard? You know, when I was growing up, every politician would say, we are going to lower your taxes. They say, we are going to raise your taxes. And they don't, you know, look, they also want no voter ID because they want to cheat on elections. They don't want same-day voting. They don't want paper ballots. They never want any of that stuff because they want to cheat on elections, right? It's April Fool's. Who wants that? Who wants to cheat? Even 82% of Democrats want voter ID. They want voter ID. We want one-day elections. We want all paper ballots. We have to get back to it. You know, in France, I recently had an election, and they used to have mail-ins, and they gave it up because it was so corrupt. Because once it, you know, it goes through everything. Some people get 7, 8 ballots. But France gave it up. And they had an election, and they had 36 million people vote. At 10 o'clock, everybody knew who won. It was a one-day election. It was paper ballots. It was voter ID. They had a winner. They had a loser, and that was the end of it. So crazy. What's happening to our country? It's like April Fools, everybody. No voter ID, open borders. It's all crazy. High interest rates, high taxes. Within hours of my inauguration, I will cancel every Biden policy that is brutalizing Michigan auto workers. You know, it's amazing. When I was in the White House, I'd meet with a lot of the heads of the unions, and they loved me. I said, there's no way. We'd have lunch. I'd have 5 or 6 of them at a time, sometimes 1 or 2. And they loved me. I said, there's no way. And then they go and they announce that they're going to support this guy that doesn't even know where the hell he is. He has no idea. And I said, I can't understand it. But we get the votes because the people understand it. The people understand. But I'll roll back Biden's ridiculous cafe standards, stop the assault on the internal combustion engine, which is what you do here. Unleash American energy and save tens of thousands of Michigan jobs from destruction because you are heading toward a fall like nobody's ever seen before. And that's with this crazy policy they have for all electric. Under Biden, we have record high trade deficits, also known, in my opinion, as losses. We lose a fortune to China, to Japan, to all these countries. I renegotiated many of the deals. The rest of them were under consideration. But we made new deals with South Korea, with Japan. We made an unbelievable trade deal with China. They buy $50 billion worth of our product that they weren't buying. They didn't want to buy anything. The number was supposed to be $15 billion. And I said to my people, did you say 50 billion or 15? They said, sir, we said 15. I said, make it 50. And we got it. And it was great for manufacturers and great for farmers. But now I understand under the Biden administration, they're not living up to their agreement. Why should they? They have the goods on Biden. You understand that, right? They have the goods. He's not going to do anything. For this reason, I will also pass landmark legislation to be known as the Trump Reciprocal Trade Act. So that if China or India or any country hits us with a 100, 200, or even 300% tax or tariff, the numbers are unbelievable, how unfair it is. Anything like that, we will immediately, on all American goods, we will immediately hit them with tariffs and taxes that are exactly the same. So if they charge us 100%, we charge them 100%. You know, it's funny, I spoke to a senator that's not really a senator, who's not really into business. He said, so explain this to me. You're saying that if, let's say, India, and they really do a very big number on us, like Modi very much, I love the Indian people, but boy, do they take advantage of us on trade. So he said, so if India charges us 100% for a motorcycle, Harley Davidson, they're building plants now in India because they can't get them in because the tax is so high. It's so high, the tariff is just a disaster. So he said, if India charges us 100, we charge them 100, right? Is that what you're saying? I go, that's what I'm saying. He goes, you got my vote. You got my vote. But there are senators that won't approve it, and there are people that won't approve it. I had one senator from Pennsylvania. He left. He couldn't have won for dog catcher, frankly. He's gone. He was a disaster. To me, he was beautiful. I'd say, so listen, China's charging us 150% tax on something. Is it okay if I charge them 100? No, sir, that's not free trade. I said, well, but they're charging us, so let me ask you this. Could I charge 100? They're charging us 150. Senator, could I charge 100? No, sir. We want free and fair trade, sir. I said, this is not free and fair. This is, could I charge him 50? No, sir, you couldn't. Could I charge him 25 or even 10%? Like beggars. Could I be a beggar? You charge us 150, we're going to charge you 10%. I was just doing it just to find out. He said, no, sir, it's not free and fair trade. Well, he's out of office now, Tommy, because he was stupid. He was stupid. He was horrible. That guy was horrible. He fought me on every damn thing. I would not give him an endorsement. I wouldn't give him. You know, our endorsement goes to 98, 99%. Lisa got my endorsement, I can tell you that. 99%. When we endorse, close to 99% of the people that we endorse win. I wouldn't endorse him, and he decided to retire. I've decided to leave office now. No, these people, I don't know where the hell you find them, Tommy Tuberville. I don't know how you find them. Just out of curiosity, if China's charging us 100%, can we charge them 100%, Tommy Tuberville? Yes, we got one vote. That's why they love him in Alabama. But it's no wonder the swamp is getting truly desperate as they see us leading very big in the polls. I'm leading very, very big in the polls. In this week's just came out Big Village poll, we lead the field by 41 points. Very nice. 56 to 15 for DeSanctimonious. He's doing good. He's falling like a rock. People are getting to know him. They know he's got no personality. Got to have a little personality. Not much, but a little. And we're leading big. In a recent CBS poll, which does not like me, we have 61%, and the Republicans are down to 11 or 12 or something. And in the new Harvard-Harris poll, doesn't love me, we're up by 45 points, leading 45 points, and it's been really amazing. In New Hampshire, we have a 47% lead over DeSanctimonious. The reason I call him that is he was dead in the water. Couldn't have gotten elected. He came begging for my endorsement. I gave him the endorsement. He won. Then they said, would you run against the president? He said, I have no comment. I said, that means he's running. This guy, we get him elected. Then he says, yes, I'd run. I don't know. They say loyalty doesn't matter in this business. What do you think, Rudy? I think loyalty matters a lot. I think it matters a lot. But we're leading Biden by a lot. In that same Harvard-Harris poll, Trump leads Biden 45 to 39. All other Republican candidates are losing to Biden, which is hard to believe, to be honest with you. This young man right here sitting in the front is about 12 years old. He should be leading by 40 or 50 points. Anybody should be leading. It's horrible. Look, it was a rigged election. That's the only way they can win. These incredible poll numbers are one of the main reasons the Marxist left is weaponizing the criminal justice system to try and stop us. If I wasn't running, or if I was doing badly in the polls, all of this investigation bullshit would stop immediately. Stop immediately. And I did nothing wrong. It's under the Presidential Records Act. I did nothing wrong. Or the Clinton Sox case, which is just a reaffirmation of the Presidential Records Act. We did nothing. You know what the Clinton Sox case is? That's where Clinton, President Clinton, took out tapes and things of foreign leaders, very big deal, and he put them in his socks, and they found it in his sock drawer. So they call it the. And the judge, respected judge, ruled that he had the absolute right to have those things. And this was an affirmation. These were very, very big. That was a big deal at the time. The judge ruled in his favor. 2 weeks ago, Joe Biden ordered his top political opponent to be arrested. That's me. I never learned about being arrested at the Wharton School of Finance. They didn't have a class on arrest. We learned other things. We learned finance and things. We didn't learn about arrest. But arrested on fake and fabricated charges right in the middle of a presidential election in which Biden is losing by a lot. Can you imagine that? Sir, you're going to be arrested today. You're winning by 20 points. You're going to be arrested today. This is a continuation of the greatest witch hunt of all time, which began as I came down with our great future, then future First Lady, who people love. People love her. We came down the golden escalator in Trump Tower. Its primary purpose is a thing called election interference, but we will not let that happen. They did it in 2020. They're not doing it again. We're not going to allow it to happen. Every time the radical left, Democrats, Marxists, communists, and fascists indict me, I consider it a great badge of honor and a badge of courage. Consider it great. Essentially, I'm being indicted for you, and I believe the you is more than 200 million people that love our country. I believe that strongly. Never forget, our enemies want to stop us because we are the ones and the only ones who can stop them. We're the only ones that can stop them. They want to stop us. They'll do anything they can. You know, they're vicious. If they would apply the same genius to making our country great, we would have no problem. I probably wouldn't have even run, but they don't. They want to destroy our country. Nobody can understand it. Nobody can understand why. If these corrupt persecutions succeed, they will complete their takeover of this country, and they will destroy your way of life and the United States of America forever. It will be forever destroyed. It will never be able to come back from that. That's why this is the most important election we've ever had. They want to take away my freedom because I will never let them take away your freedom. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And I had such a nice life before. I had the greatest life. But you know what? I would do it again. A lot of people say, would you do it again? I said, absolutely, because this country has such potential. We're going to make this country greater than ever before. Absolutely. They want to silence me because I will never let them silence you. I'm never going to let them silence you. And in the end, they're not after me, they're after you. And I just happen to be standing in the way. But we're not going to let anything happen to you that's bad, and we've got to start with this election. It's coming up fast. Think of it, a little more than 6 months. We're having the primary start in Iowa, go to New Hampshire. Now, they changed it. You know, they start differently. They wanted to change it. I think that's probably going to hurt them badly, but hopefully it's not going to make any difference because we're going to win this thing so big. You know, the way you stop the cheating is to win it so big that they can't cheat. They can't create that many ballots, that many fake ballots. That's the way you really stop it. That will make our elections fair again. Joe Biden is the most corrupt president in the history of our country, and there's no doubt about that. The Biden corruption scandal is 100 times bigger than Watergate, yet the mainstream media doesn't even report the fact that Joe Biden has illegally taken millions and millions of dollars from China, Ukraine, and many other countries, and you can't read it. You see the story, and you know it's happening, and it's all over the internet, but you can't read anything about it in mainstream media. And you go to ABC, CBS, NBC, you go to the mainstream, the big ones, if they're big, I don't know, who the hell watches them now? Because they have no credibility. You know, they've lost credibility so badly. CNN, nobody's watching CNN anymore. because it's fake news. Wasn't that a great term that we came up with years ago? Fake news, fake news. They are fake news. There's a lot of them back there. Hello. But Joe Biden is compromised. Can you believe that it was just announced? This is, to me, one of the hardest of all. That military installations are currently being built in Cuba, just 90 miles off our coast. And Biden isn't doing anything about it. He's not saying he can't, because they've been paying him off, and they know how they've been paying him off. They will reveal that, and that'll be the end of his presidency. I think even the fake news won't be able to cover that one up, but maybe they can. But he's basically said, okay. He's saying nothing. He said, okay. What that means for our great Cuban population in Miami, where we won incredibly. And by the way, I don't know if you know this or not, Tommy, but I got more than 1 million votes more in Florida than DeSanctimonious got. Nobody wants to talk about that. More than 1 million votes more. But what it means for our great Cuban population in Miami, Florida, and the rest of the United States is that they will never see Cuba again. It's gone. When China occupies Cuba, the Cuban Americans who love Cuba, they want to go back. They want to be there. They want to be with their loved ones. They want to be there. They're never going to be able to go back. We had it where they were ready to make a deal. It was going to be opened. That's why I got the Bay of Pigs Award recently. They gave me the Bay of Pigs because nobody's done more for opening up Cuba to our great people. That whole thing was ending. And now China goes in. Now China goes in, and Biden doesn't even say anything about it. So I guess he's not going to do too well with the Miami vote, the Cuban vote, the Venezuelan vote. Unless they get back in which case I will inform China that they have 48 hours to get any military and spy equipment out of Cuba, or we will drop the hammer, and there will be tariffs and taxes unlike anything they've ever seen. And they paid hundreds of billions of dollars while I was president. That's why they didn't want me as president. Those tariffs are killing us, sir. I said, you've been killing us for 30 years. Biden wants to do nothing because he can't do it. Together in 4 incredible years under our administration, we delivered the largest tax cuts and regulatory cuts. Our regulations, I think it was bigger even and more important, Rudy, than the tax cuts. It created the greatest economy in history. We built the greatest economy in history. And a lot of it was the regulation cuts and the tax cuts. And those two things go hand in hand. We achieved energy independence, and energy dominance was just around the corner. We had gasoline prices for your car of $1.87 a gallon. We had times when it was even lower than that. And now it goes up to 5 and 6 and 7. And it's going to start going up again. We filled up the strategic reserves, and they emptied it out so that they could keep the price of gasoline cheap before an election. That's supposed to be used for much more important things than that, like military and security. We created the most secure border in U.S. history, built nearly 500 miles of border wall, got Mexico to give us, free of charge, 28,000 soldiers. You know why he did that? I said, you have to give us soldiers while we're building the wall. No, 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 we can't do that. And I really like the president of Mexico. He's a socialist, but that's all right. Can't have everything. But I do like him. But I said, you have to give us 28,000 soldiers. They thought I was crazy when I said that. And I also said, you have to give us remain in Mexico. Nobody comes into our country, they have to remain in Mexico. And Title 42, that's having to do with sickness, as you know. We just don't want sick people that are going to come in and infect our country. And catch and release, you have to end it. But I said, we need all these things. And the woman at the State Department said, sir, they'll never do this. I've been doing this for 25 years, sir. They will never do it. She was actually very good, but she was so used to being turned down. I said, oh, they'll do it, 100%, 100%. What do you mean 100%, sir? They're never going to do that. Why would they give us free soldiers? You'll see. So the top person in Mexico outside of the president, El Presidente, great guy. But the top person came in, he sat down. I said, here's what we need. We need 28,000 soldiers free of charge because you're letting all these people pour into our country and we're building the wall. and we need them immediately, free of charge. He laughed at me. Then I said, we need the other things that we just went over. We need no more catch and release. I'm not doing it. We're going to catch and we're going to release them into your country, not into our country. And we need stay in Mexico. I gave him a list of 10 different things, all of which are impossible. And he said, sir, you must be, why would we, we're not going to do that. I said, yes, you're 100%. I told him, 100% you're going to do it. No, we're not going to do it, sir. He said, here's what's happening, and I had right in front of me an executive order, that if you don't do it, we're going to charge you 25% tariff and taxes on all of your cars and every other thing that you sell into the United States of America. You took the business away, now you're going to pay a big tax. And I'm ready to sign it. And this was a Friday. I said, this goes into effect Monday morning at 9 o'clock. And I'm being nice by saying 9 because I was going to say, why didn't you make it 7? But they didn't do that. Goes into effect Monday morning at 9 o'clock. Sir, I'm sure you wouldn't do that. I said, no, 100% I'm going to do it. Sir, do you mind if I leave the room for a few minutes? I'd like to make a phone call. He came back about 5 minutes later. Sir, we would be honored to allow you to do all of the things. We would be honored. This would be a great honor for us, sir. Oh, I had many of those things. We got everything. The woman at the State Department, she was good. But she was turned down. She said, I've been turned down for 20, 25 years for asking for that stuff, and you got everything. And I said, 100%, we're going to get everything. So they gave us 28,000 soldiers free. And you know what? If they didn't, we would have made a lot of money on the tariffs, because frankly, there should be tariffs. Because they took our business out of Michigan, they put it into Mexico, and then they sell cars to our country, just like you used to sell cars to our country. But they took 32% of our automobile manufacturing business out of our country. Most of it came from Michigan, right here, this wonderful place. And I said, you know what? We're going to make a fortune if you say no to me. But he came back within 5 minutes. But I've done that with many, many phone calls. I wish they could have all been taped and recorded. I had McClain call up. And our people came to me and said, you know, France wants to charge us a massive tax if you're an American company doing business in France. They want to charge us a very big tax. I said, they can't do that. So I gave it to Nugent and some people. I said, call up. Tell them we're not doing it. They called up. They came back a week later. They said, sir, they're doing it. It's already been passed by their so-called legislature. I said, no, they're not going to do it. Give it another couple of days and go back and try it. They came back. They said no. So I called up Emmanuel Macron, a nice guy, but he's a wise guy, but he's a nice man. But he's a wise guy. Hey, look, these people are all at the top of their game. Our guy wasn't at the top of his game 40 years ago, okay? But these people, Macron, and say what you want, President Xi, they said the fake news, is President Xi a smart man? I said, no, he's a brilliant man. He controls 1.4 billion people with an iron fist. How dare he say he's brilliant? You're not allowed to say that. You're not allowed to say it. But I said to Macron, I said, let me call him. Emmanuel, how are you? It's nice to talk to you. Emmanuel, here's the story. I understand you're going to charge American business. Oh, yes, Donald. I am. I was going to charge American business, yes. We've been doing this for a long time. Yes, we have decided to charge American businesses a tax. The tax is like 25%. And I don't want that to happen. That's unfair. We don't charge them. I said, well, I don't want you to do it, Emmanuel. But, Donald, we have to. It's already been passed, and we will be signing legislation next week. I said, here's the story, Emmanuel. If you charge us that tax, I will charge you 100% taxes and tariffs on all wine and champagne coming into the United States. And that starts tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock. I got this out. No, he said, you cannot do that. That is very unfair. Can you believe it? That's unfair. They can charge us with, this is the way, because they've been dealing with stupid people for 40 years. These deals are the stupidest deals. NAFTA is the stupidest deal I've ever seen. Everyone said there's no way he can get that terminated. And a new deal, I got it terminated from great people in the Senate and great people in the House. We got it terminated because you had to have it terminated in the House and the Senate. We got it terminated. I signed the termination and I replaced it with USMCA. But I said, no, Emmanuel, I'm sorry. He said, may I call you back? I said, you may. How long will it take you to call me back? Oh, it will be a short, about 4 minutes later I get a call. He goes, Donald, we have decided that we will not put the tax on American companies. That was it. That was it. Let me give you the bad news. The bad news is now they're putting it on under the Biden administration. And I guarantee you Joe Biden's not calling up saying, Emmanuel, what are you doing? No, he wants to go to sleep and just relax. We appointed nearly 300 federal judges and 3 great Supreme Court justices. I rebuilt our United States military. We created Space Force, which is a big deal. First time in 78 years Air Force was before. First time in 78 years since Air Force. Defeated ISIS, 100% of ISIS. And I brought our troops back home where they belong. I imposed the most powerful travel ban to keep radical Islamic terrorists out of our country. It took a lot of heat, remember that? And you know, if you think, I don't like to talk about it, but if you think for 4 years we didn't have a problem, did we, huh? But we have a lot of bad people coming into our country now. I was the first president in 70 years who didn't start a war. I didn't start a war. Everybody said, beautiful Hillary Clinton. You know, I don't call her crooked anymore, so I have a new name, beautiful. She's a beautiful person. Beautiful Hillary. She's a beautiful woman. She said, he is going to start a war. Listen to him, his personality. I said, no, my personality will stop a war. And I'm the only person that can say this. I will stop World War III, and we're very close to having World War III. But all of that was only the beginning. Here are some of the rather bold agenda items that I will immediately implement when we become the 47th President of the United States. Before I even arrive at the Oval Office, shortly after I win the presidency, I will have the war between Russia and Ukraine settled. I'll do it in 24 hours. It's not tough to do. That's easy compared to a lot of things. To stop the Marxist prosecutors who release rapists and murderers all over our country while persecuting conservatives, including me, by the way, have you noticed? I will direct a completely overhauled DOJ and investigate every radical district attorney and attorney general in America for their illegal, racist, and reverse enforcement of the law. Thank you. I will immediately terminate every open borders policy of the Biden administration. You can come in to our country, but you have to come in legally. We want you to come in, but you have to come in legally. You just take a look at other countries and what they're doing, but other countries are emptying out their prisons, insane asylums, mental institutions. They're dumping everyone, including many, many, many terrorists. The other day, they had 48 terrorists. They caught 48 terrorists coming in from the border, but that's hundreds and hundreds of these people are coming in. They're not being caught. Following the Eisenhower model, Dwight Eisenhower was very tough on the border, believe it or not. We will use all necessary state, local, federal, and military resources to carry out the largest domestic deportation operation in American history. Have no choice. I don't like saying it. We have no choice. Get the bad ones out early, very early. And you know who knows who they are? Our police forces. They know who they are, right, Rudy? They know everyone, every town. They know the good ones. They know the gang members. They know them by their first names. I will invoke the Alien Enemies Act, which most people have never heard of, to remove all known and suspected gang members, drug dealers, or cartel members from the United States, ending the scourge of illegal alien gang violence forever. And I will sign a day one executive order ending automatic citizenship for the children of illegal aliens. They come into our country illegally, they have a child. Congratulations, your child is now a citizen of the United States. To save our economy from Joe Biden's inflation catastrophe and total economic disaster, I will deliver tax cuts, energy price cuts, and interest rate cuts, the likes of which you have never seen before. You know, we were ready to do that, and then we got hit with the COVID as a gift from China. We were doing so well. We were making so much money with the oil and gas, with the drilling. And I was using that money, just like Saudi Arabia makes a fortune. We have more than Saudi Arabia and Russia combined. We were doing numbers that nobody had ever seen before. We were ready to start taking those numbers, giving a tax reduction. I gave the biggest in history. I was going to give it even bigger to middle-income people. We were going to give it even bigger. We were going to do that. And then we were going to start paying down our $32 billion at the time national debt. We were going to make so much money, and then COVID came in, and we had to change a lot of plans because that was a disaster. A gift from China, another gift from China. But unlike Ron DeSanctimonious, who voted to gut Medicare and gut Social Security, and even voted to raise the retirement age to 70, which was a big raise. He wanted to do it. He voted 3 times to do that. He wanted to gut Social Security, and he was going to terminate or do very bad things to Medicare. And then he's supposed to get elected? You can't get elected when you do that because the people deserve that. They worked for that. We can't take that away. There are many other things we can do, including oil and gas, where we build up our numbers. There are many, many other things we can do. We're not going to play around with Social Security, and we're not going to play around with Medicare, Medicaid. I will always protect Medicare and Social Security for our great seniors. I will always protect that. I will immediately sign a new executive order to cut federal funding for any school pushing critical race theory, transgender insanity, and other inappropriate racial, sexual, or political content onto the lives of our children. And here's something, it's not even believable that we have to say this. Who would ever think? Only a sick country can think this way. I will keep men out of women's sports. No, can you imagine having to say that? You see these records, weightlifting records that stood for 18 years. 18 years, and now they're being broken by like 100 pounds. They used to put a little tiny, a quarter of an ounce and a quarter of an ounce on these barbells, and a young woman would get up, and she's a great champion, and she's got to lift that 212 pounds over her head. Her mother and father are there, her husband's there, they're so proud of her. They put a quarter of an ounce on each side, a little quarter, little thing, little. 18 years it stood. 18 years. And she got up and she's so proud. Her parents are there. And, oh, and she gets up. Mom, Dad, I can't do it. I can't do it. Then this guy comes along. Have you lifted before? No, I haven't, really. Well, you're going to have to lift this weight over your head. He said, that's all right. I should be able to do that. He goes like this. Then he said, how about adding 100 pounds to it? This is a disgrace to women, what's happening. Disgrace. The other one I tell, and I tell it very strongly, the swimmers' records are being decimated. But the young woman who was standing there, she was going to break that record. It stood for 12 years. And she was a great athlete, great swimmer. She was going to break it. She looks down. She sees the same people that she's been swimming against for 10 years. You know, they tend to be, the cream comes to the top. She looks over. She sees the 4 people on her left. She looks over. She sees 5 people. And then she looks up. Whoa, that guy's big. Whoa. Man, I never saw her before. And the gun goes off. And this young lady was badly injured, as you know, because I've told this before. She suffered from wind burn because this guy went by her so fast that the wind was devastating. Hopefully she'll be recovered. This guy looked like a slightly smaller version of Wilt the Stilt Chamberlain. Biggest wingspan she'd ever seen. No, we can't do that. This is crazy. And it's so demeaning to women and women's sports. They've come so far. It's so demeaning. Who would think we even have to talk about that? And who would think that we have to talk about the fact that I will sign a law prohibiting child sexual mutilation in all 50 states? Who would think that? Now, who would think that? Child sexual mutilation? Can you imagine 10 or 15 years ago? You don't have to say that. Nobody would think child sexual mutilation. We're going to stop it. It's unbelievable. And there are people that don't want you to stop it. That's the more incredible part. There's a lobby out there that's powerful as hell. I mean, they're trying to destroy our country. In addition, I will not give 1 penny to any school that has a vaccine mandate or a mask mandate from kindergarten all the way through college. As I announced this month, to continue my long record of standing up to Big Pharma, I will establish a special presidential commission, which I had before we were doing so well. Big Pharma hated me. You know how you can tell? Take a look at how much money they gave me and take a look at how much money they gave to the Democrats. They hated me. And the FDA hated me because nobody ever pushed the FDA like I did. I said, why do you have to wait 7 years, 8 years to get something that's working really well? Why do you have to wait? Very bureaucratic. They hated me. A special presidential commission to investigate what is causing the decades-long increase in childhood diseases, autoimmune disorders, autism, obesity, infertility, and other chronic health problems. Why is this happening at this level? Just as I did 4 years, for 4 years I did this, I will fully uphold the Second Amendment. I will uphold the Second Amendment. I've had support from every gun group. And that hasn't been that easy. That hasn't been that easy. There's a big lobby against, but I held so strong. Sometimes it wasn't the easiest thing. I will fully uphold and protect your Second Amendment. I will defend innocent life. Nobody did what I've done for innocent life. Nobody even came close. I will bring back free speech in America. And that is what we must do to restore our country to greatness. The USA is a mess. It's a total mess. Our economy is crashing. Inflation is out of control. China, Russia, Iran, and North Korea have formed together in a menacing and destructive coalition. Not even believable that Russia and China would be together. They're natural enemies because of their land. They're natural. Joe Biden and Obama pushed them together. No reason for it. Amazing that it happened, but now they're together, and it is menacing. Our currency is crashing and will soon no longer be the world standard, which will be the greatest defeat that we've had in 200 years. If that happens, we become a complete third world nation. And if you look at our airports today and you look at all of the problems we have at the border and with our elections, we are indeed a third world nation. But I won't let these things happen with me, not even a chance. Just like Russia, as I said, would never, ever have even thought about going into Ukraine. And I talked about Putin. He understood the consequences, and China would not have even given a thought about raiding Taiwan, and that's right now all they think about. If you took the 5 worst presidents in the history of the United States and added them up, they would not have done near the destruction to our country as Joe Biden and the Biden administration have done. They wouldn't have. We are a failing nation. We are a nation in decline. And now these radical left lunatics want to interfere with our elections by using law enforcement. It's totally corrupt. and we will never let it happen. This is the final battle. With you at my side, we will demolish the deep state. We will expel the warmongers from our government. We will drive out the globalists. We will cast out the communists, Marxists, and fascists. And we will throw off the sick political class that hates our country. We will rout the fake news media, and we will defeat crooked Joe Biden. We will liberate America from these villains once and for all. The great silent majority is rising like never before. And under our leadership, the forgotten man and woman will be forgotten no longer. We will make sure that our great, wonderful, beautiful, forgotten men and women will not be forgotten any longer. With your help, with your love, and your vote, we will win Michigan, and we will make America great again. Thank you. God bless you. God bless Michigan, and God bless America. Thank you, everybody. Thank you very much. Thank you.
President Donald J. Trump wrapping up about an hour speech here at the Lincoln Day dinner in Novi, Michigan. He covered a lot of topics that are making us very hopeful. You are not going to come after our children, leave our children alone, whether they're having men and women's sports, putting these critical race theories in our children's schools. Whatever the case may be, these demonic ideologies that they have in their minds that they're wanting to do to our children, Trump says no, absolutely not. He spoke on Michigan and the auto industry here, getting a lot of round of applause when it comes to the auto industry. He says he's taking a stand on China, that he is one of the only presidents who has really stood up to China. And he also gave some poll numbers that are out, some new numbers. One of the highest numbers that we're seeing is coming out of the Iowa polls, where he's up 47% against Ron DeSantis. 47% is one of the highest numbers that we're seeing there. He's also saying that within hours he will scrap every Biden policy that is negatively affecting Michigan. When he said that, he got a round of applause. The people here in Michigan wanted to hear it. They heard it, and they are eager for 2024 so they can get their state back in order. He talked about the investigations and the indictments against them. He said some words that I cannot repeat, but you heard him say it. The crowd laughed there. He says every indictment is a badge of honor and a badge of courage. He is courageous and he is honorable, and so good for him for standing up for the American people. That will do it for us here today. I'm Vanessa Broussard, live in Novi, Michigan. once again, we want to thank our sponsors for allowing us to be here today. Without them, today would not be possible. Of course, we want to thank Birch Gold. If you haven't done so already, log on to their website, Birch Gold's website. You can also text Trump to 989898 to get more information about gold. Blackout Coffee, if you're looking for a coffee maker with conservative views that match yours, make sure that you check out Blackout Coffee. blackoutcoffee.com/RSBN. You can use the coupon code RSBN for 20% off your first order. My Patriot Supply. For emergency food and emergency situations, that's prep2023.com. Prep2023.com, My Patriot Supply. And also check out those Trump trading cards. The official Trump NFTs sold out within 24 hours, but now you can have those physical Trump trading cards. All you have to do is text the keyword cards to 70301. That's 70301 to claim yours right now. So good to have you all here with us as we celebrate this wonderful dinner. The Republican Party here in Oakland County, Michigan, honoring President Donald J. Trump. They awarded him the Man of the Decade Award. He spoke for an hour, giving us hope for a great 2024 run. We're behind him all the way. Thanks for watching RSBN. Stick with us on this campaign trail. We'll be following every move the president makes, and also on the flip side, the Bidens as well. Go to rsbnetwork.com to follow us there. Truth Social, Rumble, we're there as well. And we will see you soon. Have a great night, America.
Blackout Coffee. Fresh roasted, bold flavors, serving heroes on the front lines.
Blackout! Blackout Coffee, baby! Blackout Coffee!
From the ingredients we use to the values as a company we have, quality is something Blackout Coffee drinkers expect. But where did it start? Meet John.
Our thought process in the beginning was to make a coffee for all the everyday American that works hard, plays hard, and never stops. We actually started playing around with the beans, and we came up with different types of beans to make a really strong coffee that does not give you the jitters.
My name is Doc, and I am the lead roaster for Blackout Coffee. To me, I've tried all sorts of different coffee, even the smaller independent brands, and Blackout's just different. It tastes different. And I actually came across them while working for a different company, and I could smell the roast going on, and I'm like, I need to try that one. It's not coffee, not to me. It's freedom.
What's up, guys? My name is Jaden Hurd, and you're watching Right Side Broadcasting Network. I have a new show over there on Rumble that comes out every Tuesday and Friday called Let It Be Heard. What we do is react to videos, we analyze the culture, and we analyze politics from a biblical perspective. I think you're going to enjoy it, so I'll see you over there. God bless.
Right Side Broadcasting is known for panning the crowds, showing the packed arenas, and allowing you to see the truth. We've covered hundreds of rallies, briefings, marches, CPAC, and the historic overturning of Roe v. Wade. Right Side Broadcasting was created in 2015 by our founder, Joe Seals, creating a unique broadcasting experience that allows you to make your own decision rather than force-feeding you an agenda. We don't cut or edit people's words or twist them to fit a particular point of view. We allow our correspondents to be open about their opinions while maintaining journalistic integrity. Right Side Broadcasting wants to continue our legacy with help from people just like you. Your donations and support allow us to continue to be the gold standard in live, unedited event coverage. Help our cause by sharing our broadcasts, subscribing on our social media platforms, and supporting us on our locals community. Your monthly or one-time contributions on our website are crucial in our fight for the truth. Thank you for all of your generous support.
You're still looking good.
I'm still feeling good. You know, I've got all your MyPillow products. Mattress topper, bed sheets, MyPillows, towels, slippers, blankets, sleepwear, dog beds.
Whoa, Charles. Everyone now can get MyPillow products at huge discounts at MyPillow.com. That's right. Now's the time to go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to take advantage of our 3-in-1 sale. We're bringing you exciting new products, overstock specials, and closeout deals you won't find anywhere else. For example, when you buy one of our brand new MyPillow 2.0s, you get another one absolutely free. And with our overstock sale, you save 50% on our luxurious Giza Dream bed sheets. That's as low as $29.99 for the best sheets ever. And with our biggest closeout special, you get our all-season slippers for only $35. Or our sandals and slides for just $25. Quantities are limited, and once they're gone, they're gone.